Right now, ugly looking board right now, 4.3% for the NASDAQ, leading the way to the downside, 3.5 there for the S&P. As I said, just making fresh lows for the S&P as well. 2.3 for the Dow, also under significant pressure today. Crude oil, if you remember, in the pre-market was down 1.5%, now up 2%. For crude with about 30 minutes left in the pit session. Cryptos still on the slide as well. Wow. Glowing red board to show you here as far as the S&P is concerned. As I said, 3.5 now for the S&P. It's tech stocks, it's consumer discretionary stocks, it's industrials up here leading the way. Everything else you can see a little bit better off, but not much. There is still some positivity in the materials group from NEM. Newmont up 2.4%. Consumer staple stocks, there are a few that are positive, but otherwise ugly right across the entire S&P 500. Quickly show you this as well. NASDAQ glowing red. When this wants to load up, we'll have a look at a pretty ugly board here as well. Only AZN, only AZN, 1% on the day. Everything else getting hit pretty hard. Welcome in. Hope your afternoon is going well. Hope you took advantage of these big moves to the downside. We're going to talk a little bit about some of them right now. We'll get into what we were talking about in the pre-market. Tons of opportunity at the open this morning. Even with the market, it wasn't doing a lot in the pre-market. This whole sell-off kind of kicked off once the market opened. So we'll jump right into things here. We're going to bring Sean in. He's going to have a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, trade of the day again here, and today it's going to be Apple. And I'm just looking right now, we just got a position and it just started to go into the money there, and I was like, oh God, got to go back to my desk and get this out. But we're okay. Let me explain what the situation today with Apple is. Down 4%, and as you can see, started off early, man. Nice little decline, almost all the way, right? Like no real relief to start the day off here. I have the NASDAQ. You can see how bad that was. This is how we traded Apple early, right? So if I swing over here to have a quick little look, it was these levels, right? Coming into this 131. So, we based out there. We thought 131 could hold. I could zoom back out, so on and so forth. But 131 was a previous low on Apple. We tested it. So the first long started around 131.50, right? Then averaged in at about 131. Got some of it out on the way back up, because remember, when you average in, your average price right in the middle. So that came out. We got a nice little profit on that one, but then lost on the rest of them. So we probably only got out 20, 30%. Definitely wind up a negative trade. So then we say, okay, some barcoding here. Now, what's the next level? If it breaks 131, all eyes on me at 130 as we go to the down, little Tupac reference there. Nice little move to the downside there. And look at this. We take right now the 130, I believe that was like a 130.20. It breaks down below. We only get out of half when it takes down that 130. So we only got out of half of our position for about a 15-cent hit, I believe, something like that. I think we got 95. So, whatever price we're in at, it's right near that 130 mark. That blue line is 130 even. Then we get out of half, and then look what happens. Then the next half, all the way back up, all the way to VWAP. We wind up holding it. That's a dollar plus winner back there at VWAP, all the way back up. Some out at the 50 period, some out in this consolidation again. Then this is where we hit that reloaded button, because it comes right back down, and we're doing it again right now. It comes right back down in. We take that price one more time. Upside, boom, comes back in, hit it again, upside, boom, upside all the way this time. Because it's lunchtime trading, when we're taking these, we are letting it drift up. And I mean, again, kind of lucky to get out here, 131.20 or so, and then it fell right back in. We didn't have any positions. We were completely flat until this. Now it came back in. We're long again at 10s here on Apple. So I just want to show you, like the NASDAQ today, look at this action, look at the action on Apple. They're almost identical, right? Then you come in and you say, all right, now let's see this little leveling off here in the middle of the day. We put a key line at the bottom of the day here, 111.30 or so here on the NASDAQ. That's been holding. This has been holding as well. Looks like if we take down the low of the day, though, we're going to get out of Apple, right? So you got to have your stops. So our stop is about 30 cents worth of risk. I think, again, if this can drift back up, I mean, the 50 period is at 50 cents and VWAP is at 80. So, I think this is well worth it. But as you can see, the NASDAQ still trying to make new lows right now. We actually just dipped down, and Apple supported that dip. So that was pretty good. Right now it's kind of a slippery slope heading into the close with such a market down 4.5%. Well, I'm probably going to get there. 4.5%. That means sell pressure into the close. I am very weary of this Apple trade, but we'll hold on to it a little bit, trying to take about a 20, 30 cent hit when I believe there's a lot of upside. Apple today on our radar because we had Fed yesterday. Big moves in the NASDAQ. We came in today. NASDAQ was down about 2 and a bit percentage points. Here's Apple, and it's your trade of the day.
Significant pressure for Apple right now. Significant pressure for the NASDAQ. 2020 levels, in fact, for the NASDAQ coming into play. Fresh one-year low for Apple currently as we sit here near day lows. Big tech, top of the watch list today. Make sure you grab that, guys, if you haven't done so already. We send it out in the pre-market before we come on at 8:30, so you can follow along with us. You come join us at 8:30, then we get you ready for the open. Yeah, there's a note at well, hey, 201. Apple hits near one-year low on this continued sell-off. NASDAQ, tech stocks, all under significant pressure here this afternoon, leading things to the downside. November 2020, in fact, for current levels here. I was watching Robinhood a little bit. There was a big, I can show you here, there's a big volume spike that came in on Robinhood. Apparently now this company is worth less than cash on hand. So there's that for Robinhood as crypto slide continues as well. Let's get into big tech. We heard from Sean there on Apple. That's not the only one that's getting hit pretty hard here this afternoon, guys. Right across the board, Meta, Microsoft, all in this group.
Yeah, like it's been a pretty ugly day today, obviously, but the positive has been you've been holding on to some lows at least, and I'm not talking like not the company lows, but the bottom of the range has been relatively respected. And when I look at something like Microsoft, look, I say that as we're pretty much on the bottoms on Microsoft, 43.5. You've been able to get there without breaking. You can see what the shelf, and when I say shelf, I just mean a big support level like a multi-day does look like. Why is it still in Robinhood? I flipped over. Yeah, so when you see what a multi-day shelf this looks like, you know, this could start to break. You have some support below, but I can't count the number of names that are doing exactly what the ES is, which is testing or breaking low of the day as we speak. Now, if it isn't at the low of the day, then it's relatively strong. You might have seen I just got back into Alibaba. I keep saying Alibaba when I mean Boeing. So like if I say Alibaba, there's a 99% chance, guys, I'm talking about Boeing today. I just see the BA, and I don't know what gets in my head. So I just got back into Boeing because it's above VWAP, and it's not at the low of the day. So if the futures manage to hold by some, and as I say that, we are breaking the lows of the day. Yeah. If the futures were to manage to hold, yeah, this would be a decent trade, maybe off of VWAP here. But I kind of feel like rising tides don't always lift all ships, but breaking through the lows will even cause a strong stock to head to the bottom. So I'm kind of feeling I shouldn't have just got back into Boeing as the market is taking out these bottoms. I still have Square from the morning, and I am in this ADN, the small cap. A lot of you were watching that in the midday. I think you probably know, Luca was saying it, $4 is the level, short in front of 4.
Oh, man, I mean, you started with all this big tech crash here. I mean, as this market goes, I mean, you're not going to be, I was just doing the trade of the day. We're out of Apple, by the way. Obviously, it broke a lot lower right now on Apple, so that just cranked lower. I mean, you're not going to find any salvation when the market's down 4.5% off of what was a decent rip yesterday. I mean, what a different mood one day is to the next here. Yesterday, we were going nuts right now at this time as they just released the interest rate, which was, of course, that 0.75 rate bump. I mean, there's nothing on my board today that I look at that's any good, man. I mean, here we go. Just to have a quick look at some of the names, man. Ford, 1120 right now, 52-week lows. Meta, 160 just broke. 52-week lows as well. All the marijuana names, 52-week lows. Fisker, Rocket Companies, JP Morgan today, like way off these 52-week lows. GE down to 67. GE was 115 or 120 bucks when they did that reverse split. Win down to 56. I like Win. I still like Win, but I mean, all these things are going to get railroaded. PayPal 71 bucks today. There's Block. Yeah, Dikembe Mutombo with the block on that one down to 59 bucks, 57 and change right now. GM down to 30. Like we could just go on and on and on. All these are 52-week lows. A restaurant chain, QSR, Burger King, Tim Hortons down there. Popeyes, Canada Goose. Shout out to you as well. $23 right there. And it just goes on and on and on, man. HUD 8, Is it $1.97? Okay. Thank you coming in on that one. But yeah, crypto just getting killed. Not getting killed today, actually. I should take that. It's up to 21,000. So we're actually holding out okay on crypto. Should watch what I say there. But yeah,
Jinx.
Apple, Meta, like all these names, everything's getting crushed. There is going to be like that one relief rally kind of a day. Sort of thought it might have been today, off of what we saw yesterday in the closing minutes of that market. But honestly, like, this has been a big, big flush day, and I don't think that a lot of people expected this. This dramatic today. People are going to put their hands up and be like, yeah, I predicted it. But
What's weird?
I didn't hear anybody thinking that this was going to be a 5% down day.
No, and what's weird about it is this morning I actually made the point, and that the last time we had the Fed raise rates, you did have a jump to the upside. You then opened at the highs and then closed pretty much at the low of the recent range. Like, this is where we were. And then on Friday, tried to break the bottom and kind of did, but managed to hold up without falling apart. And then it was on the Monday that things actually fell apart. So, today it was just kind of one of those moments where, we actually didn't even bother. We just opened lower and fell. So it was very different from what we saw last time. Although I guess we pointed out that the rally wasn't quite as strong in some ways in the afternoon. I kind of thought we'd hold off to a witching and maybe test some of these bottoms. There'd be some bids to be had. And every short I liked on the pop, it was just missed entry after missed entry, with the exception of Square, I suppose. A lot of these were difficult to get into this morning. The short wasn't easy. Like, it was easy in that it worked into anything you got, but it wasn't easy in terms of where everything's set up and what you were prepared to take. So that shelf just almost didn't exist right away, which can make for a tricky morning.
Mentioned crypto there briefly. Let's touch on it. Silvergate just popped up on some volume here, guys. Initially breaking the low. I mean, the overall market breaking the low back up in what could be the first of some problems to come, let's call it. Crypto hedge fund Three Arrows, apparently. Financial Times just saying Three Arrows failing to meet a margin call. And they are purely crypto based. So SI flushed out the low of the day, right back above it, down 8% here, along with pretty much everything else.
Look, Silvergate, I mean, they're probably a little bit more famous right now for the loan that they made to Micro. And that's a big story. But that's not the only MicroStrategy. That's not the only firm, obviously, that they'd be on the hook for. And I think that's why they've been under pressure, to be honest. There was that talk. Was it yesterday? Was it 2 days ago of there being like an acquisition or potential acquisition? But it's just been woodshed morning, or day, I should say. This is breaking the lows of the day. I took Block because Coin wouldn't come to me this morning. It's like Block was just one of these situations. We said this yesterday. When you get a shelf break, it already had one at 65, and then it put another one on here right around 60. That's why you see me in this multiple times. We had it off the open when it took out that 60 level. It then put in a lower high here, right at about 58.5. We roll back into it, holding it for the low of the day again to see if this can absolutely fall apart. But whether it was this, whether it was Coinbase, these are outpacing to the downside. Like, we're holding those support levels on crypto. Like, you're still above 11,000. You're still above, barely above 21,000, or just barely even trying to hold that. But you're seeing these start to come in pretty heavily. And Coinbase just didn't pop enough. Like, Square gave you an entry because it fell apart and broke a level to the downside. In Coinbase's case, like, you just sort of had to sit in front of this level and let it sort of come into you at 54. I like 55, 56. That's what we were waiting for, so that we didn't have a god-awful price and have to hold it $3-4 against us. But it would have just worked out. And that's how this morning was. You could have just shorted it into oblivion. The exact same thing that didn't work every other day on Coinbase, which is just to take the initial pop short. You got run over like 3 days in a row if you did this trade on Coinbase. Today, all it did is print for you. So that's sometimes how the market goes. But I'd rather miss out than get blown out 4 times and then be like, oh, but look, it worked the 5th time I took it. See, that was great. Not for me. Square set up, Coin didn't.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like all that talk there. For me, we always talk about Coinbase. I don't know if we talk enough about Hut 8, of course, a mining or operation here in Canada. But this name just keeps on getting plummeted as well, man. I mean, I can't believe this was back in November, $16, $17. down here to $1.54. So, I mean, we can look at some of these crypto positions of mine. And, I mean, I don't have the positions on here, but you could just sort of see how nasty it is. Let me refresh that. I don't know. Are we up that much in 24 hours? Oh, maybe there for crypto. Okay, maybe crypto's not as bad as I thought it was right there the last 24 hours. But still, a big-time movement to the downside. Solana, $31. I mean, some of these names, Ethereum in 7 days is down 40%. Like 40% in 7 days for Ether. So, I mean, that's obviously not going to be sitting well with many people. But, yeah, big-time movements to the downside. Avalanche there, Shiba Inu. I mean, some of these names, Polygon, that's the big NFT name, down to 39 cents. Wow. I mean, some of these names just continue to get routed every single day. So, even Bitcoin, 30% in 1 week. I mean, it's not nice, man. It's good. It's bad, I should say. And we're just going to keep looking forward to brighter days there. Crypto winter is upon us. And I don't know if it's going to ever become spring, Brendan.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate truth that seems to be coming along. Just watching Tesla, guys, I put 8% on the board there, but hey, it's now 9.5% for Tesla on its way to SSR. Yeah, Tesla is almost down 10% today. There was a lot of developments that came out of that meeting that Elon had with Twitter over lunchtime, including he will apparently take a position with Twitter initially, he said. So there was that, mostly positive, including the fact that he wants to get the user base to 1 billion on Twitter and came up with a whole bunch of ideas on how to do that. But the reason I bring this up is because when he said he was going to take a position initially with Twitter, that kind of kicked off. There was a big volume spike. If you can throw up my chart there, right there. That was when that happened, guys.
Yeah, well, hey, nothing wrong with those ideas. I think it's what active daily users, something like 500 million, I thought it was, something like that. So it looks like he's trying to get that double up. Hey, look, I mean, he would have, if anybody's going to have ideas on how to, hopefully turn something around and get profitable, I think that that's supposed to be an exciting thing for TWTR and their shareholders. Look, I mean, whether or not he takes this thing private or not, I mean, hopefully he can try to solve some kind of these problems that he's been noticing out there. It all does start with daily active users. Obviously, the more people you have operating under your platform, the more attractive you're going to look, right? And hopefully you'll be able to turn. He talked about payments, I noticed, on one of his discussion points there, trying to get some payments going on through Twitter. I don't know exactly what he meant for that, but yeah, it's been a decent day for Twitter considering it's only down 2%. And then, holding upside. We're going to look at Apple, Microsoft, Meta, a lot of these names. To be quite honest with you, man, he may be saving Twitter right now because I know, Neil, you've mentioned this as well. Like, where 25. Would this be? Yeah, 25. Maybe lower. Honestly, maybe lower.
Maybe.
Like, why wouldn't it be? Like, this is Twitter, right? I mean, a lot of people compare. Look, I think Facebook, Meta is more of a better comparison to Snap than Twitter would be. But I mean, Snapchat, big time movements to the downside there, leveling off a little bit now. But when you go over and look at Twitter, I think a lot of this talk here, that's a 20-minute range there, has really helped this sort of make a base here at around $36. So I think if you're going to buy Twitter, you can sort of do it now if you really wanted to. And then the only risk would be that you wake up one morning and it's kind of sub this 36. But I like 36 here as a possible bottom for Twitter. And then maybe you can go long if it breaks 40. But I don't know if that is the right play, the long, because we really don't know what price this guy's going to be coming in at. So I would say if you want to dance right now, I can't say there's anything wrong with that. You have about $1 of downside there down to 36. The ultimate bottom, of course, 30. But, he got involved right here when it was at 40. There's a spike to 50. So I feel like there's more to come here on this story.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot more to come. We know the deadline's in October, so things are going to happen before that. I think we know that's going to be true. Tesla, okay, two things about Tesla. One, I'll get to the second thing, it's more important. It goes SSR at like 629 something, whatever, and change. So somewhere around that, it goes short sell restricted and would be down 10% on the day. Usually a pretty big psychological level, and sometimes where it catches a bit. I know that's a trade the midday guys are going to talk about, and a lot of day traders will look at that. So there could be buy support a couple of dollars from here, and I think that's why you're slowing down as the market hit that low. I did try. I liked 2 levels on Tesla today. I never really got 680. I guess if you were shorting it at 8:30 in the morning, then it would have hit the price I would have liked. But outside of that, there was 650. I did try it 3 times. It worked twice, then it didn't. I should have reversed the short. I did not. It's just one of those things, man. You got to be able to get into these and sometimes take them through the bottom. It never really threatened you if you were in that short, and it's just sort of going, I mean, not parabolic downside, but it started to accelerate when it took out 640. And if the market breaks the low of the day right now, you start thinking about where were we on Tesla when we made the recent bottom. That was about 617. So there is some room till you get back down to those May lows that we found after the first rate hike. And we get SSR. That's what you could look at. All that said, usually you can count on some kind of a bounce when a stock like Tesla would hit that 10% mark. So 630 looks like it could be a little bit of something here for Tesla. But watch out below if it can't hold and goes 10% down.
Talking yesterday a little bit about how travel stocks specifically did show some relative strength late in the day. As I mean, let's be honest, there's still a ton of demand. Airlines are coming out almost on a weekly or bi-weekly basis saying they almost can't keep up with the amount of demand they have right now for the summer months to come, and also next year, the year after that as well. But you start throwing that R word around, as many people were today. Even these, 8.5% here for UAL. Airlines, all the cruise lines getting sold off sharply here as well.
I was going to say, I was wondering, Neil and I just talking about this a little bit, like people, I mean, what classifies the recession? I think it's a GDP number there, right? You have to be below a certain number. But
negative GDP growth for a couple of quarters in a row.
Yeah.
It's like,
because I'm just thinking, like, why are we maybe not even in one right now? So we'll have to look at that. But for me, we've talked about this Jets ETF for a while. We're going to have Daniel Shea on soon here today. Maybe we can talk to her about some airlines. But, I mean, honestly, like, you don't even have to, the reason why I keep talking about the ETF as opposed to anything else is just like you don't really have to pick your poison that much when you're talking about this. You could just get right into any of these names. This ETF, which will give you a 10% allocation in roughly those top 4 names, and then there's other ones too. Air Canada's in there and whatnot. But, you're looking at this level right here. You're coming back to some of these levels back in May. Like, this is COVID right here, right? This bottom was 12.16 during COVID. Look where we're at right now, right? So you are getting some interested counterparties down here to hopefully take the other side of this trade. Like, I don't know. Are we that bad right now? You just mentioned fuel costs going through the roof right now. That's bad for jets and all those names. Delta Airlines, American Airlines, I mean AAL here on NQ side of things, down to $12. Wow, like there's so much destruction that's been done here, even just in the last couple of days, 15 down to 12. And I sort of got sidetracked with what I was trying to say there, and that is like, fuel costs, huge, right? Energy today, up another 2%, back up to 117. So that's going to be inevitably a problem for these guys. And then you also have demand. Right now it's there, but like we've just mentioned, is it going to be there for a while? I don't believe in the consumer right now. It's super weak. Everybody I talk to, channel checks over and over, besides my kid. We're going to the Nike store tonight because his shoes didn't fit him. But, a lot of these, issues continue to persist. And honestly, if you're trying to cut back a little bit, then why would you go into the travel space right now and start booking airline tickets and so on and so forth? If this is exactly the case, we're having less money in consumers' pockets. So I think these eventually catch a bid, and later on when we do a little something, I have a name that I like better than these airlines. But honestly, travel right now in trouble. But some of these lows, Neil, I mean, like you're getting back to 2020 levels here. So whether or not you think there's some value here, I tend to think there has to be somewhere.
People like there's an entire there's group of people who like to live on cruises.
Yes,
like it is a very niche and popular sort of vacation method. Some people just live cruise to cruise. It's just you have to imagine that given that there's a there I suppose. I don't know where it is. Maybe TCL needs to get to $5.
Yeah, maybe.
But that could just be it. But at some point, you're right. Like you're just going to start getting there. I mean, I think it was it Rolling Records just asked it. Oh, Flameboy and was asking. It was a Flameboy. Yeah, Flameboy was just asking, are we dollar cost averaging into anything? Yeah, a few things to be sure. But I think I'm not there yet, to be honest. Like the whole let's just go. We've got these great bottoms. You got to start getting into things. But I got bids out there. The only big tech I bought so far is Google, and even patient with it. If you see me a little bit distracted, it's because I didn't get the reverse on ADN. So, stop fired. I had 2 shorts on ADN. I did short the lower high, scalped some out, and then it broke the consolidation. Then I shorted off the 4 even. It broke 4 and I didn't reverse long. I actually had a bit out there. I just didn't actually get the fill. So it's now at 430 and this thing is up 270%. Chews through the biggest level on the daily chart, and now is a chance to get up to this 450, which is the next stop. $5 is the 200 period moving average. So the only way you're sniffing the 200 period moving average is if you are a small cap stock up 270%.
I'm going to actually mention these the small cap stocks here, guys. I'm glad you brought that up there, Neil. I was going to mention in the sense that even on a day when the market is down so much, the volume that we're seeing coming across in some of these is pretty impressive. If you joined us during the midday show, I was showing you the volume leaders there. There was 3 stocks, in fact, that were all above 100 million. Just double checking on ADN, 25 million share float on ADN. It'll probably do 200 million. Trade 200 million on the day. It does also have an 8.5% short float as well. So interesting note on that one. I also want to mention that SIDU tried to get above 8 again for the 15th time today. Again, failed. There's a huge seller or a huge sell program that comes in every time it gets up to about 810, 820, guys. As you mentioned, Miss Danielle Shea coming up in about 15 minutes here. We'll get her take on a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to talk about the Fed. We're going to talk about where the market is overall. If you have any questions for Miss Shea, throw them in the chat. We'll try to get to them as well. But yeah, crazy day for small caps.
It's been insane, man. I had to get away from Sidhu.
Yeah, what's up with Sidhu right now?
Sidhu, while being a good friend of our friend, it was no friend of mine, man. The only good trade I had in Sidhu was in the pre-market.
And it's still right where it opened, man. It's still at $8. I'm pissed off about this stock.
It's like it's just this. There was another one. Like I had a key, and it looked like a certain quarterback that used to be the quarterback of the Houston Texans. It looked like him puking and not me. But I'd hit that key if I could. Yeah, Deshaun Watson.
You can say the name, man. I mean, I don't know why Cleveland, honestly. That's one of the biggest disgraces.
If I say what I feel about Deshaun Watson in that entire situation,
there's 66 women.
I will not be done at 4 o'clock. That's all I got to say. It makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest with you. So anyways. I would hit the puke graphic if I could, because I don't think you could have done worse. And the worst thing about it was when I took the first hit on Sidhu, trying to grab the 60 long, and then saw it flush out and then consolidate. I even said in the morning show, I said to you guys,
our stream is dead.
Uh-oh. I'm just going to try to keep going here, guys. I said if it consolidates, that's when you get in. Don't take breaks, only take consolidations. I then proceeded to only take breakouts. I took the next 2 breaks. They both stunk instead of waiting for consolidations. Just a huge mistake for me on Sidhu.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Are we good
we're
now?
Good.
Okay, it's back. Yeah,
hit your refresh if you're messed up right now.
Yeah, please refresh. I'm trying to refresh mine. I got some Pete Nigerian dude here as something to watch out for. So I'm just going to refresh it as well. And yeah, the sell-off does continue here today, guys. Please hit the like button if you can, and thank you for that. As soon as I looked over at the chat and I saw stream died, we got right on it. So thanks, Lucas and Fahad, for that one, fixing that stream ASAP for us. So thanks, guys, for that one. But okay, let's just continue on board here with this route. I actually want to go over to a bank. We haven't talked about those in a bit, but look at JP Morgan right now. Yeah, it doesn't seem to be any love for these names either here today, as JP Morgan continues to be in a little bit of trouble. Down here, this is today. We've already made bottoms of 112 there on JP Morgan. You are getting lower and lower on all of these banks, man. But you know what? I mean, on a daily chart, I don't know what's up with all these D prints right there. But you know, on a daily chart, you're still not even you could still dip sub 100 on these names. It seems like everybody wants to go back to some of these lows regardless of what you're in. We talked about tech wants to go lower. Now you're seeing banks want to go lower. So why could we not visit some of these levels back in 2020 again? $90, something like that on JP Morgan. I mean, you can't really hide in any of these banks, right? Morgan Stanley down to 73. That's not great. Well, obviously it's not great. Look at this move back down, right? Goldman Sachs as well. I mean, it's going going to be everything, up down to 283, all 52-week lows. Where do you hide in this market? Whoops, I don't know where you hide in this market. So, I mean, a rhetorical question one more time there, but I mean, here we are. We're ready to rock and roll with it, but it doesn't look like you could do much. WFC is one of the lower ones. Even some of the oil names today coming back in as well, I believe. So anyways, yeah, XOM down still 5% today. So energy names, I mean, maybe it's just XOM, right? But it's not. Check out CVX, same kind of thing here on CVX. You know, lowered up by 6%, Neil, today for Chevron on the downside. Are, you know, okay, well, maybe, you know, obviously Roblox, if all these other places aren't doing anything, Roblox won't be either, but Roblox down 15% today.
Roblox is down 15%?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these names, but the funny thing is, Roblox still not near that bottom in May of $20. So this is what I mean, lots of places to go here, and they don't look like they're up.
The only place you can hide today, there is, well, maybe there's more than one stock, but there is one stock that is actually flat on the day and almost positive, and that's been Boeing. And I said in the morning show, I'm like, I hope the only thing I go long in today is Boeing. What ended up not being true. I did try Tesla 650 after that, but at least this is going. However, even like anything else, take your profits. Make sure you're feeding the belly a little bit, because any long bounce, and you want to make sure you're getting some out. Now we're bouncing off VWAP. I did get back into Boeing. I did have one slip up on the long. I had the long off the bottom at the low of the day on Boeing, double bottom, great long at 131, and then I had this wick take me. I had this wick that came all the way down to 132, and my stop order triggered on it, and I wasn't really paying attention, so I missed a chance to get back in, and then I got back in when we consolidated up here. So that actually ends up costing about 50 pennies if you look at it, like from in to out. I could have got back in here. Sometimes it's going to happen to you. You should, I mean, stop orders, trailing stop orders, I think you can use them, but you know, obviously, sometimes these wicks will trigger depending on the stop you use, because it's a real print down there. It's just a big block print that went off. Didn't actually hit the tape. But now you're getting back toward the high. I feel like I should be taking this out, but I just think we can get back to the high of the day. If the market's going to bounce off the lows here, Boeing's going to go to the high. It should get to that 135, and I've been saying it all morning. At some point, it'll be true, right?
Let's hope so. But right now, yeah, no, tongue-in-cheek, of course, about everything here, because I don't know where we're going. I mean, this Roblox trade to me is going to be interesting as well. Maybe we might have found a bottom if you want to rally off this 24 number. That's a possibility. We've hit this 50 period before on Roblox, so that's going to be, you know, just one of those situations where I'm thinking here on the downside, 24. But, I mean, we broke the 50 period here, danced above it for a little bit, then again. So I'm actually debating the short here, 24.50 up to that level. I mean, you can even, I mean, you're just talking about pennies here. It's not like it's crazy. I mean, we can hold this all the way back up. It's fine. It's just here it is down 15%. I wonder, because they came with better users the other day, right? So it's kind of strange that this is so far down here today. I feel like, Brendan, we might have missed something on Roblox. I mean, downgrade or something today to send this thing reeling. DraftKings is another name. I feel like my seat is also too far down. Sometimes we get hit there on that. But yeah, so anyways, long story short here, Roblox, big time movement to the downside, and I feel like we got to figure this out. And DraftKings also down 13%. I fear for anybody that owns anything ARK related today.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. I want to say I fear for anybody that owns Revlon, but I mean, Chapter 11, we all know what that means, but you still get squeezes. The stock, when I looked at it, I forget exactly what the short interest was. It was gigantic. I should double check it. Okay, yeah, it's anywhere between 30, look, consensus 37% and FinViz saying 53%. Now, obviously, when you go Chapter 11, that means you're done, right? But you still, when it opened back up, there's shorts that have to cover. And I think that's one of those, like, look, the stock was $5 and holding on, and then you made a bottom at 1, but there's probably shorts that were still thinking, I'm good, I can hang on to this. Now, the smart thing about it is when there's a big short interest, pick your spots. So I said to myself, $2.50, $3. And that was it. And I shorted $2.50 and it worked and I lost. Well, I actually didn't lose on this trade. It was about flat on this trade. And then it got to $3, traded it back in only to $2.30. Now it's down to $2. But yeah, you just have to have a plan of action, I think. And if it's overall a little bit more conservative with these squeeze names, what I've found is on days where the market's getting trashed and the only things going up are low floats and squeeze plays, that whole, oh, I'm just going to short off the top, that strategy isn't as good. And you can't just swing at it over and over again. In those markets, the buyers don't have many places to go, and so these things find some strength, even if it makes no sense. And it makes no sense in Revlon. Let's be real about that. I think we all understand when the stock opens up at $1.20, Chapter 11 is official, and it goes to $3, that doesn't make any sense fundamentally, obviously. It's just shorts having to cover. It's just day traders getting squeezed. So if you want to short that stock, pick a really good level, wait for some real capitulation. Don't sit there doing it 20 different times. Just be very, very specific and very patient because it's usually going to fall. It's just a matter of when. But if you've been blown out before that, and I've done that before, then you're not going to get that top. So, just got to have a chip in a chair, obviously, when you're doing this, which isn't to say that it's gambling, but when you're going counter trend, it's going to feel like it if you try it 20 times.
Market sell-off continues, the one that started, if you haven't looked at a calendar, basically January 1st. The market's done nothing but go straight to the downside all year. Yes, we're in a bear market territory now for the S&P, for the NASDAQ, for the Dow. That doesn't mean, guys, we have to start, or we can't start thinking ahead a little bit and start planning ahead, yes, using our 8 balls maybe even to maybe start to nibble at positions, longer term positions in this video. We'll get to it eventually. In this video, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about stocks that we like on the long term. We're talking time frame out of the horizon at this point. Let's jump into a few ideas here for long-term buys.
Yeah, Kathy Wood timeframes. Like lots of years ahead. Yeah. Now, look, I mean, a lot of times it would be easy. Like I could just say like AMD and then hang up the phone here or something like that. But I'd rather go into. I want to talk 2 names, but it doesn't really matter. I'll just pick Caterpillar. I think whether it's Caterpillar or John Deere, it's kind of the same concept here, where I understand you have that R word lingering, right? But I want a solid company with a proven track record of having a solid market that's addressable that I think is going nowhere. And the truth of the matter is, I don't think when it comes to agriculture, when it comes to infrastructure, that we're not gonna have a need for these things, especially in the U.S., and that there isn't gonna be some potential growth there. Now, is there some downside risk? Neither one of these trades, like in the low teens on a PE, neither one of them is single digits at this point, so I can't pretend as if it's super cheap. But I can tell you they both pay a healthy dividend. They have held up relatively well, while other names are sitting at some of their yearly lows. Something like a Caterpillar is a good 5 to 7% above that. Deere a little bit dissimilar, but I think you've been seeing some signs of strength overall. And I just feel like this is where you might start to dollar cost average, because if I have to go out and project who's going to be around and who's going to be making money and who's going to be generating cash for the next 4 or 5 years, I think those are 2 names I feel confident about. Now, do we have to dodge some bullets when it comes to earnings? Maybe some earnings revisions to the downside. Maybe the E on the PE starts to come in a little bit more. Sure, but I feel a little bit better about those 2 names than I would about some of those like tech names. And we've thrown those names out there before. Like I said, I could tell you AMD, but I just feel like Caterpillar, John Deere, those work for me. And I think you got to start nibbling in those types of names, a little bit more defensive.
Yeah, I like that one. Not beat down so much yet, and I think that's obviously a good sign for that. I'm going to go with something a little more aggressive. We were talking about longer-term time frames right now, and like I own the stock. It doesn't mean that I necessarily think that at these levels it can't go lower, but my stock's going to be welcome to Mickey Mouse's neighborhood, and I think we can go with Disney a little bit here. And the reason why is quite simple. It's down 40%. This year alone. So $155 down to $94. So it's not been a great ride, obviously, for Disney. But right now you're able to pick it up at basically all-time low forward PEs, right? The average forward PE over the last 5 years for Disney was 29.5. Right now you're at 17.5 for Disney. But the thing about this is, remember, don't add us, don't do anything like this. What we're trying to do is give you some ideas here for moving forward, right? And I think that if you do have a time frame of 2-3 years, when hopefully, we're back into a little bit more stable environment as far as the Fed is concerned and travel is concerned and just getting back to business, I think Disney has that chance. Not only that, they are expecting to go between 230 to 260 million subscribers by the end of 2024. How are they going to do that with just Disney? Well, the thing is, they have Disney Plus, they have Hulu, they have ESPN as well. So I feel like there is some potential there, and I know that there's going to be some consolidation in the streaming side of things, and I just don't think that Disney's going anywhere. They may be the ones scooping up some other properties to add to some of their content. Plus, remember, they have the big blockbusters as well. Don't forget about some of the names that they have: Star Wars, Marvel, everything else, all the princesses, everything that they have. They could come up with new products, new areas to go. Plus, they have a cruise line business. They have the hotel business there in Orlando and California. Plus, all through China is going to get reopened and stuff like that. So throughout Europe, Disney World Paris is there as well. Their subs actually grew 32% in second quarter as far as streaming is concerned. So I think you have to really ignore some of these short-term, which I don't know how short-term, maybe to 2024, short-term sort of headwinds that a lot of these companies are dealing with. And although obviously it's going up since we started talking about it, I think Disney down here at these lows with the current PE that it has, I feel like in 3-4 years, Brendan, you're not going to have too many issues here owning Disney shares.
Great call. Caterpillar as well. A couple of companies that aren't going anywhere. That is the point, guys. That's what we're trying to emphasize here. I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach here, and I'm going to come north of the border and talk to our Canadian friends a little bit and talk about Canadian Bank Corp, which is listed on the TSX here in Toronto. BK is the symbol. This is a daily chart of Canadian Bank Corp. This operates as a fund, and essentially what they do is they hold all of the major Canadian banks. And if you look at the bottom of the screen here, they pay a monthly dividend, guys. So, the market's down 33% from the highs. This is down 17% from the highs. So if you want exposure, if you're in Canada, have access to Canadian markets, you like the big banks, you want exposure to the big banks, heck, you like a monthly dividend, check out BK as well. I've already started nibbling on that one, guys. So just so everyone is aware. A couple of great ideas, though, for long-term buys, guys.
All right, what's that symbol? I got to get in there right now. Buy ASAP as soon as I possibly can.
And I should have said
Brendan
this.
is buying it.
I should have said this, man. Like, if Brendan's all in on that bad boy, I shouldn't say all in because he's nibbling on it. Oh my goodness, that makes me feel. The second he said it, Sean and I had the same reaction. We're like,
what was that dividend anyways, Brendan, yearly, dude?
It's 18 cents a month. I don't know, whatever that equates to. I'll do the math.
I want that yield,
he'll do the math.
baby.
He'll do the math and get back to us on that one because, we're
Drip,
all
drip,
about that
drip,
yield.
drip, drip.
The funniest thing about it, as I read with the chat here, guys, is honestly, it's like, I'm not pumping Disney or anything like that. We're doing these segments trying to give you guys some ideas here because the market's just been so trashed. I could sit here and say Microsoft or Apple or Google. I love Google too. Neil's mentioned trying to buy some of that. I've been buying that as well. But to be quite frank with you, I looked at Disney, I saw that PE of 17, and it was like, to me, that's a decent little level there. Plus, I do still like the sports aspect that they have with ESPN. ABC, I forgot to even mention that, obviously wrapped up in Hulu as well there. So
Easiest 1, 2, 3.
I don't, I can't say I recommend going in there and buying it today or anything like that, but we were talking about nibbling into something. Disney down 40% this year. Remember, I sold Disney. I don't know. I can check out the exact numbers for you. Probably 30-40% of my position right before earnings, right here at 160. So I was lucky to get out of the way on some of this Disney as well. But I, think that this is another name here where you could start nibbling into. So, and I said that I knew that I would get added on calls like that. But it's just, it is what it is there on Disney. I like it. I think they have that plan to grow their subs through the roof. So if streaming can ever catch on a little more than it has right now. And what I mean by that is like, we always look at things here as like, we're in a bubble here. But you have to remember, like, some of these streaming, like Netflix is not even in India, or if it is, it's a very, very small portion of their subscriber growth and their total subscribers. And that market is just booming right now. There's so much opportunity to sort of expand where streaming is here, especially with more broadband and stuff like that going through. I think it's hard to ignore Disney at these levels. And I think you'll look back in a little while. Like I started buying this thing, I believe it was 80 back in March, April, May. I see Daryl's here. Daryl knows that JP Morgan, Disney was one of the what names that I like to buy. And so someone's saying, am I buying right now? I don't have any cash. So maybe when I get paid at the end of this month here, we can get in there and start buying. But for me, I'm already in Disney. So I think I'll buy some on the dip.
I was going to say, we should have said Oracle because that stock's super strong right now. And it's been like, hey, look, it's going up right now. No, it's weird. Like sometimes in the chat, it's like, it's not like he said lemonade or root. Hey, man, everyone should go in and buy root. Like that stock's probably at 72 cents or something like that. But look, obviously, we're talking about, like Brendan said, we're talking about names that'll be there in the future. But I am serious. Oracle's really strong. Like I was talking about Boeing, which just went green, baby. There's a stock. Oh, I shouldn't hit. Anyways. I wanted to hit something green. I hit the green market key. Okay, Boeing got green. The market is obviously red today, but it's actually going up, so I'm kind of happy to see that. But Oracle super strong. Find these little pockets of relative strength, man. This has been, look at the bottom that this made, and it's been screaming to the upside. They had a good quarter, and sometimes it's actually not that. If something just reported and had a really good quarter and then the market gets beat up for a reason and then you're looking to defend bottoms one day, sometimes just go back. What's a stable company that just had a good report that people might be willing to buy or aren't looking to sell off? Yeah, Oracle, I guess it fits there. Not green yet, but not that far away either.
All right, we're getting ready to rock and roll here soon with Daniel Shea coming any moment. We'll talk to her about writing covered calls and things like that. Witching is tomorrow. Yeah, good one there to look at that as well. So, man, the spiders, everything at 52-week lows right now. The ES, man, everything I'm looking at right now is just getting absolutely destroyed. Wow, I'm not in ARK or anything like that. I was in ARK KQ. I still am very small in that name, but look at what ARK is doing right now. I'm going to say it's a NASDAQ or is it Amex? Should have guessed that. I was thinking Amex it was the whole way, and it's not. But look at ARK today. We saw DraftKings, we saw Roblox. UiPath is down 11% today. It just keeps, Twilio's down 8% today. Some of the names that they hold, Tesla just went SSR.
Where's Roku?
Tesla is SSR right now, down 10%.
Goodness.
There's Tesla. It just hit down 10% right now.
Did it hit it?
Yeah, it's down. It was. I just saw it on
e-signal.
It just went SSR. So you're going to be able to see here SSR right there. Y, yes. So right there, it just tracked lower as well. This one, again, such a fool not selling this thing at that 730 again. I'm going to regret that over and over and over again. It was just up there, and I was like, oh my God, here's a salvation to get out of this one. And then Randy really loves Tesla, so I was like, okay, we'll hold on to that one. But it's not. Loves it. Yeah, it's not his. I mean, it's not his fault. I like Tesla as well. I'm the one pulling the trigger here, but there it is, man. Tesla down to these levels again. I mean, you can go all the way back to, this is March of 2021, where you see this 550 handle, seen again back in May of 2021, and it looks like we're going to test that right now as we're breaking this shelf of 620 any minute now. Probably happens here, as now you're down that 10%. See you later to Tesla. See you later. I mean, I don't know if
I just got trailed.
Rivian. I mean, they're all there.
They're all ugly. I just got trailed out to the one stock which is actually paying you off here, but I'm not going to look too many gift horses in the mouth. I'm going to have to get it. I thought we'd get to 135 on Boeing. It got halfway and then reversed. It broke 134. So I'm out, man. It's just as strong, relatively strong as it's been. The market isn't, quite frankly. So if I take a shot at Tesla, I kind of felt like I should have already done it there. And it's not to say that it can't still make that bounce, but it already went 10%. So it looks like the bounce was this. It gave you $2.50. Now, quite frankly, if you're excited about a $2.50 scalp trade on Tesla, you are only a day trader. Like, you're a day trader on a prop floor, because otherwise that ain't doing diddly squat for you there. So even that wasn't much. That's how this market is looking. So I'm just down to this. And when I said there's relative strength only in names like Oracle or Boeing, I'm not disregarding these small caps. I just don't I'm usually talking about something which is in an index, like a bigger name stock. I don't really mean the small cap. There's always a small cap stock going somewhere. right? So it's not to say that this isn't strong. It's just I don't really put it in the same bucket as something that actually moves the market. There's the low of the day break officially on both the ES and the NASDAQ, hence why I needed to be out of that trade in Boeing. I'm holding square, maybe to the close, because apparently if you get in and out in the same day, you're a day trader, but if you hold it to the close, you're a portfolio manager. Wise man told me that, or I heard a wise man say that like 50 minutes ago.
That's funny. You heard a wise man say that? I heard Prad say that, I thought.
I thought Lucas said it.
Oh, yeah. If it was Luca, then I think you'd be right on that one. But no, just throwing shade at Prad, because Prad threw shade at our age, remember, on that one. So we're fighting back with that. But yeah, Lucid also down 12, man. Tesla's down, SSR now down 10%. Rivian's down that 13%. Fisker, I mean, every single EV name today. I mean, let's just put it this way. Every single blank name today is down. We had one name that was up today, and it was AstraZeneca, and it was up like 1 cent or something like that, probably much lower now. Hold on, before we go to Brett, I just want to look up AstraZeneca.
Revlon's
here.
up.
Forget it. I just mean S&P 500 names. Yeah, there it is. AstraZeneca, hell yeah. AstraZeneca up 0.16. So we're like, ball in. This market's got everything under control. Don't worry, one name in the S&P 500 today, positive, Brendan. So I think we're doing pretty good here.
Apparently, anyways. AZN making dreams come true, up 0.16%. That tells the story, I guess, right across the board. We're going to bring in Danielle Shea, VP of Options over at Simpler Trading. We're thrilled to have her back after a week's hiatus to discuss what has happened this week. Great to see you, as always, Danielle. I mean, where do we start? 4% kind of day for the NASDAQ, a 4% kind of day for the S&P as of basically right now. You've been leaning on the short all year long, as we've spoken in depth about here. Where does it get to a point where we have to kind of say, okay, what do we do with the shorts at this point?
This week, especially with the Fed, I went into it pretty short, and then I ended up covering on Tuesday because I thought, there might be kind of Fed relief rally, and we did get a little bit of a relief rally yesterday, right? And I was hoping that we would get a better short squeeze up to higher levels to add a bunch more shorts on. But this thing just keeps rolling and dying. And I mean, at this point, it looks like we're closer to capitulation than any kind of, decent rally we can sell into. So I think that we stay on the short side, but I think you have to do it as a day trade because at any moment in time, we could have an overnight gap up and a short squeeze due to the high short interest.
And that's a great point. And as you said, we saw yesterday, once that move started to happen and once that move started to roll, it was very violent back to the upside. But as you said, gapping down this morning. Let's focus on the NASDAQ here. As I said, a 4% kind of day for the NASDAQ. All the tech names getting absolutely crushed, including Apple, basically at day lows right now. When it comes to Apple, when it comes to Amazon, we know you love to trade Microsoft as well. Are they in the same boat here? I mean, do we need to see a bounce to get short, or do we need to see maybe a flush out to lower levels even to try and put on a longer term position?
Sure. Well, I mean, we can go ahead and look at charts. I love looking at the NASDAQ futures. Personally, I know a lot of people look at the composite, but this is a NASDAQ futures daily chart. And if you look at the way that this has broken down, I mean, look how close we are to the September 2020 lows. If that low breaks, which is 10,700, let's call it. And I mean, we're only 300 points from that, not far away. At that point, we're looking at a major capitulation move that would take us back to the highs of February of 2020. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you look at Microsoft and you say, well, is it too late to short it? I mean, nobody wants to short on the lows of the year, right? You're trading at 242. But if the NASDAQ goes, Microsoft is going to go too. So, I think the next levels in Microsoft to the downside are going to be 240 and then about 227. I think you can keep trading it lower, but you definitely have to be careful because with the short interest, and look at this, the put call ratio I have up at about 1.18 today. It got up as high as 1.35. That's the highest it's been since March of 2020. So if there is some kind of catalyst, which I don't know what it could be, I mean, all of these could rally substantially.
A little bit about retail stocks here coming up in a second, but before we do that, is it the case? I mean, we've had so much success over the past 5 years, you know, on the long side. When you see a chart like that, when you see a Microsoft chart like that, when it's clearly making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows in this market, even on a daily time frame, do you need to see one of those break before you say, okay, this is not a short anymore?
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I can go back to the Microsoft chart here, and I 100% agree. I mean, we are in a weekly downtrend. We are in a daily downtrend. It breaks my heart to say, because Microsoft is one of my favorite, you know, what used to be bullish stocks, but this thing is a short. I mean, unless it got up above, I would say maybe right around here, around 275, and especially up above 290, that's the price point where I would say, okay, you know, we can look at a reversal, we can look at going long, but until that changes, every time this thing bounces back up to around the 21 EMA is really where I like to look for short trades, which at this price point, that would be about 260. I mean, you just got to follow the trend. It's the path of least resistance.
There's a big event coming up tomorrow with options expiration, third Friday. We're going to bring in the guys here and talk about that just to wrap things up. But before we do that, retail stocks. I mean, a lot more people, it seems like, over the past couple of days throwing around that R word, the recession word, which is going to, whether we like it or not, affect retail stocks specifically. Give me your take here on this group. Is there one or two that you like maybe for another move down?
I like all of them. I mean, here's the thing. I've been looking at Amazon, right? Because I thought if there's anything in consumer discretionary that can go higher, it's got to be Amazon. Amazon split. Surely there's enough retail traders out there that are going to want to buy this thing at a discount. But look at it. This thing is a disaster. It just made new lows on the year again today. I mean, when I look at this space in general, I mean, you know, you've got, let's see, Nike, that one's about to make new lows. You have Home Depot and Lowe's. I think those in particular, because they're, you know, retail and they're also housing, I think those can be shorted on a regular basis. But I mean, there's definitely nothing in there that I can buy, except for maybe I would look at Costco, but even that's in a downtrend.
I love the answer, Danielle. Thank you for coming on as usual. All of them. Oh, don't hurt me. I got shares.
I was like waiting for her to say something other than all of them.
I know.
That's a good mic drop moment. A good mic drop moment there.
It's cold, but look, it's true. Like you're talking about the trend there being everything. Now, obviously, look, we just had the Fed on Wednesday, and then tomorrow was quad witching, right? So you have the second one, the largest quarterly options expiration. In addition, you have the quarterly rebalancing, which in this case is the semi-annual. Now, given the fact that we just had the Fed, and given the fact that we have quad witching coming in tomorrow, obviously I would suspect that this is about as high volatility an event as you might be able to see. Is there anything that you are looking at, at least in terms of maybe there'll be some expirations or maybe some short-term trades that people should be looking at here, or just abnormal volume going into it? Because I can't remember the last time we had this situation where we had a major Fed action on Wednesday, and on Friday we had a semi-annual rebalance, quad witching. I've been trading a while, but it doesn't come to mind this particular situation. Is there anything that sticks out to you?
So normally what we do with these quad witching days in the options market is we go into the options chain and we look at key stocks, which are usually the highest traded stocks. Like, for example, I always use Microsoft as an example, but Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Netflix, these stocks, they have a lot of high open interest. And so usually you can try to pinpoint, around what value they're going to close, and you can kind of trade that in the options market. But this market is insane. There is no way that I am going to try to make a neutral trade between today and tomorrow, because there is a tiny, tiny, tiny little chance that the market would stay in one place. So for example, if you let's look at the SPX and look at SPX options. I mean, you could say, all right, let's see, let's go to the options chain and let's see if we have a, come on, give me my data. Let's see if we have, a specific strike price that's actually going to stand out here. Normally what we would do is we would say, okay, well, we've got a lot of open interest at the 3,600 strike. Let's try to trade it up to there. And for example, you do have right here a ton of open interest at the 3,700 strike. But I mean, I can't say that I would want to try to trade this thing up at all unless we had a major gap up overnight. The next strike to the downside is going to be 3,600. I think if you do anything, you try to focus on the downside and try to trade options expiration to that value that has a lot of high open interest, because that's what makes the most sense. But I wouldn't try to do anything neutral here.
Ms. Danielle Shea, always a pleasure. Thank you for coming back on once again here. People saying it's a fantastic hair day for you.
Thank you.
I know they're not meaning me or Neil over here. So that's some good talk right there. But okay, quickly here. Do you ever look at oil? I mean, that's one thing that we don't really talk too much about is energy. Is that something that you get sort of some of the people that you're involved with looking at, or do you have any opinion on what that looks like? I mean, I have the chart up right here. It's been pretty strong, but again, like a lot of these asset classes haven't held. Like nothing's been holding. Bitcoin, gold is sort of on the way down a little bit now. What do you see for oil, and is that something that you even look at?
So I don't trade oil by itself, but I absolutely look at it, and then I will look at the energy stocks. The main reason why I haven't been trying to buy them the past couple weeks is because I just felt like the trade was so crowded, and I just felt like, with all the politicians out there, they're trying to, help save the gas prices. I just feel like you try to make a bullish, energy trade, and there's going to be some kind of political news, and it's going to ruin your trade. So that's why I have been avoiding that sector overall. If you look at the way that it's trading in the past few days, I do not like it, because look at oil. You've got oil that, yes, came back. You were in a nice uptrend. You pulled back. Normally, it would look like a great buy, right? But then when you go to XLE and you check out energy, even this sector has dropped like a rock, despite the fact that oil prices are incredibly high. So for me, I look at that. I just think it's a mess, and I'm staying out of it.
That's a tough ride there for that market. I mean, now gas, you probably know about this. I don't know what it's like where you are over there, but it was for the first time ever, I guess, $5 a gallon national right now on the national price there for oil. Do you ever play against, the thing about oil, the only thing that I can think of here would be maybe a resolution with Ukraine and Russia. Do you ever take some of that kind of stuff into consideration? I know you're just talking about the crowded trade, but that could be something that sends oil maybe back down to earth a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. And I totally agree with that. And I think that if you're trading energy and if you're trading oil, you have to be looking at what's going on in Russia and Ukraine and, supply and demand, and if the pipelines are open or not. And, if there's going to be a tax on the gas companies and all of those things, which is why it makes it such a specialized and kind of complicated area. Because when you look at energy right now, and currently what they're trying to do here in the States is say, okay, energy companies are making so much money, so let's just tax them more. I mean, do y'all really think that that's going to make the cost of gas go down? No, these companies are going to say, oh, we are getting taxed, we're going to raise prices even more. I mean, that's how capitalism works. So for me, I just think that the whole thing is kind of a mess. And I mean, you can definitely try to maybe buy some more energy stocks here because it's pulled back so much, but I just don't want to trade it.
I was Danielle Shea, VP of Options at Simpler Trading. I was looking up the next CPI reading. Danielle, give us your take here on what's to come going forward into next week, going forward into the next couple of weeks as far as inflation is concerned, and what the overall market move should be going forward. What are you looking forward to?
So the main thing that I'm starting to focus on right now is earnings season that's coming up in July. I mean, I personally don't believe that inflation is going to just immediately start going down. I do think we're going to continue to see high inflation readings, and that's going to continue to impact the market in a negative way. But I think that the biggest catalyst that we have is going to be earnings. We've already had companies like pick on Microsoft again that's come out and said, hey, the strong dollar is impacting our profits. They're not the only ones. And once we have other major corporations coming out and saying, hey, guess what? We're revising earnings lower. We're not making as much as we were. We're seeing this economic impact. That is going to send the market even lower.
Could also be a good reason for another leg to the downside for a lot of these. That date is July 13th will be the June CPI reading. So for anyone who's wondering, CPI, the next one coming out July 13th. Danielle Shea, we appreciate your time. As always, great information. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll speak again soon.
Thank you. You as well.
Danielle just made the markets go up.
Yeah, what did she say?
I mean,
exactly?
seriously, like everything was doom and gloom. You're breaking lows everywhere. You know, NASDAQ, ES were breaking. So many big names. Tesla was falling apart there as well, down to 625. And then in one candle, in like a few seconds, it's like, oh, it got stopped out of block. I looked over, and the NASDAQ was back above 11. Made a little bit of a wick bottom through that low of the day. Well, I mean, look, we're down 4%, but hey, man, any bounce is pretty good on a day like today. So we made a fresh bottom and then got a bit of a rally, but some individual names really spiked up. Like this was about a 50 to 60 cent candle that trailed me at a square that I've been sitting in all day long. Hence, I have no positions left, but crazy bounce there. Look, I only say crazy because it seemed like we're en route to falling apart. Like you look at what Tesla had done, and it just felt like, okay, man, that 617 on the daily was going to come into play. Instead, we are back above or no longer 10% to the downside. So the SSR bounce didn't quite bounce at SSR. It just picked 625. Nice round number.
Oh, man. Wow. I got to check out because I have that Canadian name here on oil, ZEO, instead of that XLE. I'm sort of glad that Danielle Shea brought this up. Yeah, because we're starting to cruise a little lower here. Look at this big movement to the downside here for that XLE, 94. We were talking about it getting top heavy. I thought oil still has 130 in mind. It's been dancing around a little bit, up 2.24%. Well, you can't see that. Right? Hold on a second. Up that 2.24% today on a nice little move upside here for oil. Yeah, basically at day's high as we're closed there on the floor. But I don't know. This XLE is well into some levels that I think you can start to buy a little bit here if you're worried about spending your cash somewhere. I mean, the summer months are coming. I don't think there's any relief coming for the oil market. So, yeah, if there is something that you're interested in right now, can't blame you for some XLE love if that was something that you liked. But, yeah, thanks, Danielle, for coming through. But, wow, this market just keeps on getting spanked. What a great opportunity that little rip was there to short a name that, you know, you wanted to get involved with maybe, like an AMD right now on the 1 minute. Look at this. A big move up. It almost took down 82, then just fell back down into 81.50 again. So that had a big move to the other way there. So nice move for AMD downside off of that spike. We're not in Amazon anymore, which sucks. We still should be shorted. But that had a good spike again, almost a VWAP before pulling back down. And the big one for me that just went, that was really a good one, was Apple. Apple's already retested this 130 there. It just got there again on that spike and then fell back down. So for me, if we do something like that, we're still hovering around the 50 period. We are still above, what am I talking about? We are still above the 50 period right now. So I feel like if Apple can take down this 130.25, then I'm going to punch long. So watch out for a long to come through here in Apple for me. That's what I like to look at here, 130.25. But yeah, man, we got to find some shorts because this market is just down 4 and a bit percentage points, 30 minutes until the imbalances. So I don't think this is getting any better.
Yeah, and thank you going there for the super chat, and thank you for showing up. The super chat. Thank you for the lessons. Wouldn't be able to play things without how we coach it. Cheers. And you know, realistically, we've all had mentors, and you know, not just mentors, but like people call it like a trading buddy. I don't, whatever you want to call it, just somebody that you can bounce ideas off of. It's an invaluable thing. It's just obviously we try to use our experience and try to help you guys up. We do the same thing with other traders on the floor. So you know, thank you very much for that. You just said you're trying to get some Apple. I got to get back into Boeing because it's been relatively strong. If it bounces down to VWAP, I got trailed out last time. We're now right back up to 134. So I'm kind of thinking I want to go back to the well. If the market's trying to make a bounce, I'd rather be playing something that's already strong, which also leads me to Oracle because, and by the way, it was you guys that pointed out Oracle. Like I actually had no idea. I don't know why it wasn't on my quote board. It just had earnings, so it should have been on my quote board. I don't know why it got taken off, but it actually is pulled back from those highs. Yeah, nice upward trend for it here. I think there's a chance. I'm probably not going to be able to get VWAP on it, but certainly like 68.5 could be a nice area to try and play if we get another bounce to the upside. As long as we're holding the lows, give me one of the strong names that we can try to play off of. And Brennan just putting in our chat a few minutes ago that Roblox, Morgan Stanley cut their bookings outlook. So remember they just updated the numbers?
Yep.
And I remember, you're right,
Yeah.
It was like they were looking positive when they updated a couple of days ago, down that 15% and Morgan Stanley piling on. So what we've learned this week is Morgan Stanley doesn't like Roblox, but they really, really like Apple because they've had like about 1 million positive things to say about Apple this week.
Yeah, I mean, I like Apple too. Okay, here we go. I'm going to try AMD breaking through that 81.80 right there. If that can happen, let's go. I think we can retrace a little bit here just to get a little bit of a late afternoon bump. I mean, the NASDAQ is trying to go right now. So let's see if that can happen for AMD through 81.60. We all are going to get long. We're just going to try some of these longs. I mean, I don't expect to lose a hell of a lot of money on these, but if it does come back into this like 81.20 or so area, we can get out of this, maybe even 81.50. We don't want to be in this for a long time, but if it does break higher, that's an interesting name for me, as well as Apple breaking above some of these levels. Just because I want to go long right here, I mean, it doesn't mean that this market's going to recover back to flat or anything like that, but the momentum's starting to go upside, and some of these levels can hold. We've already been beat down. I mean, going long Apple 130 doesn't seem to be that much of a problem. The bottom down here is 129.30, so I won't hold it to that. Obviously, if we go long 130, we can always get out if it does break back down in a little bit. So that's going to be a name that we're going to look to go long very soon. And then we just talked about AMD here today, trying to take out this 81.80 level. And if that one fills, I only want to give this back because we're down 9% today. I'm not going to trade this one too crazy. If it breaks back down below 81.50, then we'll take it. But you could go short there too. I mean, like I said, when we're above the 50 period, for me, just based on how I trade and everything like that, it's not something that generally I want to look to do, is sort of go against what I was thinking about. And that is that being above the 50 period changes trend for me a little bit. So I'm going to try to think about AMD breaking higher, but that is a good short. I just don't want to go against what I'm thinking here. Maybe we've got to pick on something that's a little bit higher above its current levels to short it. But for right now, because we're above the 50 period, I don't mind it. It's a disgusting day down. Down 4% is not nice. So nothing good to say right now. AstraZeneca up was the one name that we talked about there. And Roblox, even though they dropped that news, I think it's rebounded a little bit as well.
It's very small
from there.
So I want to address something in the chat because I think it was Steve just said, was that Amazon new bottom? Well, actually, that 102 kind of was already the bottom this week. So I don't know that on the day, I suppose you might have meant, is that the new low? I just sort of feel like this has held the floor. And if we had gone down to 101, I probably would have put a long trade on Amazon just because it's above that 100 level. It's the week's low. It's managed to hold pretty nicely. I just think you got to have it already. And I find myself at the time of day when the market's rallying, and it's the only point at which I haven't been bowing long. It's a little bit frustrating here, but I don't want to just chase a move because you're looking for something to participate in the rally. The other side of that is you could just simply say something which is making a muted bounce. Like, look at Roblox, right? Now that we mention it, below this 25 level, yeah, we get close to 25. That could be shorted up around VWAP. It's down 50%. It's beaten up. And if we're going to put a reverse on, I'd rather pick on something like that, shorting a pop. And I'm just going to call up a firm out of morbid curiosity for myself as to where it might be right now in case there's an opportunity. Not surprising me that it's down 10%. Yeah, not really that enticing. Like if this was at 17, 17.25, like getting close to this previous bottom here, I might take a shot at it swinging short. But I'd rather now try to participate in the long on Boeing or Oracle, and then be patient about where I'd like to short some of these bigger names, as opposed to stepping in front of stepping in front of a bit of a freight train, right? Like I'm not going to sit there and just short anything. I don't want to jump and chase the longs. Amazon looks appealing if you have it at that 102, but I'm not chasing it $1 away.
Here's even Sidhu again, trying to make these lows one more time back near $7. So that's a name there that we probably won't be trading. It hasn't been very profitable for us today. Whenever you get a name like this that you think is going to run, I mean, we took one bid there when it broke the high of the pre-market right after the halt, or right before the halt, sorry. Actually, no, there was a halt there, ripped back up into 850. We liked that long. Then we got taken out at 750 on the way back down. So we lost $1 there. We hadn't traded it since. I know Neil has a couple more ins and outs there, but whether or not you wait around for $7, that's coming out pretty soon right here. So SIDU, just to bring to everyone's attention, you're back into this pre-market level of 660, 650. That could be something to have a look at right there as we watch out for 680, which has been the bottom there. Could take a long here if you wanted that into these levels, possibly for another break to the upside. People keep saying what's going on with Mullen. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be too much. It was up 7% there not too long ago. Still up 6.5. So a couple, whether or not you're up 7 or 6, kind of the same thing. A nice little break for Mullen. A lot of volume came into this name. So I don't know if there was like a CNBC bump there or something like that, but Mullen definitely back up to the upside here today. A good name that I think we've talked about this over and over again, that, when you get down here, look, the bottom's far away now. I mean, you're still, you can lose $1 on this name. We were back down to 50 cents the bottom for Mullen, but they had that good battery test last week, I believe. It was extended a battery. I think it was 600 miles or something like that. So that turns out to be pretty good. So I don't know why they just got faded all the way back down there, but again, maybe some bases here at $1. So you never want to take a 24% hit or anything like that, but Mullen down at these areas isn't horrible, especially if that volume comes creeping back in here on Mullen. It does have that opportunity to rip back up to the upside. So I know Tesla, I mean, where are we in the futures? I guess we're above the 10% now. Well, barely. So even though the futures did rip up a little bit there, Tesla, still make that bottom of 625. We're very close to that bottom that we were just talking about there for a while of 600 flat. No, sorry, 620, I believe that bottom is. Yeah, what's that right there? Yeah. Oh, no, that's 560, sorry. I guess it's 620 goes back into here, back into May. So that was that May bottom for Tesla, 620, sorry, that I was talking about. But ultimately, you do have 560. Whoops, right back. Oh, no, it's right back into here. It's even further. Right there, 560 back into May lows. Yeah, that's that low there. So I think you got to really have some worry spots about that. Should have asked Danielle Shea about Tesla, but, she was calling Microsoft a short. So if you think Microsoft's a short, then I'm sure that you're thinking Tesla is probably the same way.
And breaking the low of the day, Twitter just
I just saw that.
Yeah, it just continues to fall here. So the relief rally's not in. It might not care too much about the market. I think at this point, you're just sort of wondering what you're holding out for. And I hate to say it, but like the risk reward just doesn't make any sense to me on this stock because, every single time you think there's something that makes you believe Elon's gonna, go through with the deal, like he's sitting there answering questions in their all-in meeting, showing some signs of being at least committed to it to a certain degree, answering questions about his vision, and then all you do is dump off of that. You just dump to a fresh low. So the market really doesn't care at this particular point. And sorry, Steve G was asking. Steve, you were asking about long-term for Amazon.
Look at Lucas on the ladder back there. Watch out now.
I don't know what's going on behind me, but be safe, Lucas. But long-term for Amazon, our charts aren't split adjusted. But like realistically, this was a double bottom at 2030, which you sort of run the math. Like you essentially now have a triple bottom as well. So if you're thinking about dollar cost averaging in, keep in mind, if we make another push to the downside and break through 200,000, break through this new level at 100 or 2,000, whichever one you want to call it, that is a big floor where you're gonna have this open up against us again. If the market makes a fresh low and you break a level like that, don't be surprised if you're another 10% down. So you got to be thinking about initiating a dollar cost average at a level like that isn't bad, but a lot of times you want to do it small. So if it flushes, you got to have dry powder to get the better price, because if that level holds and that's a temporary low, well, it's not going to matter too much if you pay up a little bit. But if you buy in front of it and it flushes, obviously you're going to have a little bit of FOMO there. So you never want to go all in on a support level like that against a trend, because, or just too aggressively in, because you get into a lot of trouble, and then suddenly you're going to get that tendency or that fear that makes you just dump the position right away. And if you're dollar cost averaging in, you should never put yourself in a position where once you're in and it goes 10% against you, you're thinking about getting out. Like that, you cannot be doing that. So in front of this bottom, for the long term, I would be nibbling, because I'd feel way better about Google than I would, or Alphabet than I would about Amazon at this level. And I don't think it's particularly close. And even thinking about those FANG names, or whatever you want to call them, if I gun to my head, it's like pick out of those big cap names. Which one do you think in the next 20 years is in the top 10, market capitalization company? If you asked that same question 30 years ago, out of the four horsemen, the only one standing is Microsoft. So historically speaking, when you're talking Alphabet, when Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Netflix isn't in there anymore, when you're talking about these, the odds say in 10 to 20 years, only one of them would still be one of the 5 or 10 biggest companies out there. So if I had to pick one that isn't going to be in there, gun to head, I'd say Amazon or Meta.
Yeah.
And Amazon's the one that probably has more pressure on it if we get the R word. So I think you want to be really cautious about Amazon in particular. I didn't mean to ramble about Amazon, but I was just hoping I'm answering the question without rambling too much. I have a tendency to do that.
That's good, though. Good question, good answer. Okay, new position alert. The first one on the board for us here right now, or at least the only one on the board right now, not the first one. But here we go. We are long Meta. You sure saw that just fly through there. I took the 161 long. We're in the money right now, 30 cents, so all good on Meta right now. We're about to get long AMD right now as well, and there it is. We are now long AMD here, so that's going to be a little bit of a concern for me as we're long AMD and we are long Meta. So there goes AMD. Let's go. We're in scalp mode, right? Remember, this market, I have no idea where it's going to go. So whenever that's the case, man, we are just going to rinse and repeat and keep doing that as much as we can here as we go. So right now, AMD, a nice little long through 161 move over chart. There it is. So a nice little bid here for AMD. Just caught some fire. We're above the 50 period, remember. And how about this? Let's go, man. We were like, Fahad's like, yo, you guys in any positions? I'm like,
not really.
let's get long. So there it is, man. A nice little bid up here for Meta. Hopefully that can continue its fly. Let's go. Let's go AMD, man. I'm just, like I said, if we could take out 15, 20 cents on these plays long, then we'll do that. I just think we're overdone a little bit to the sell side on some of these names. So let's just wait to see if we can get a little bit of a bid here into the market. But you can already see we're out of 20% right now. There we go, out of another bid here, out of now. We do the rough math, about 35% of my AMD trade in the mid 70s. Looking to get more out right now. Just quick trades, man. Like, I'm not trying to do anything here. We had Meta at 73. It went as high as 57 there. There's the 73 right there. So if Meta can take those levels out, we'll sit there. These could all turn out to be losers. We might have to wind up holding these against us a little bit, but we do have our scheduled outs. Meta's going to be 160.50, which is why I'm trying to get that. I mean, 160.50, that's 50 cents worth of risk to the downside for Meta, and we're going to try to make, like I said, I'm sitting at 73. So that's 70 cents upside to give 50 cents downside. You know what? Maybe we'll just take that out at 50 on Meta over here. Let me just go over to Meta and get that out. We'll put an offer at 50 because that makes the most sense. If we can get out of half for half the risk, then hold the rest. I'll cancel the 73. Let's see if we get a nice little pop back into 50 to make the R to R 1-to-1 there. And then, yeah, if it goes, man, we'll have AMD on board. And if it doesn't go, then yeah, we won't. So here goes. Okay, AMD. All right, we'll take it right back into the 70s again. So these are just dime pieces. You guys know we like dime pieces around here. So that's going to be a nice one right there. We'll continue to move it up to the upside. Shout out to Sharif. What's up, buddy? I like see how you like that joke. But let's just keep on moving around here. Like, not only that, trying to trade, trying to drop some jokes, trying to make some money for you guys. But here we go. Nice little upside move. I'll try to make money for myself, but a nice little upside move here for AMD out for in the 70s there. We're only out of half, though. Let's see where this name wants to go. Brendo.
Before we go to Brendan, I did get Roblox on that last little pop. I thought I'd be catching bids on BABA and Oracle, but we said Roblox, if it came in and got a pop, which the market just did, we take the short. I got 75s, kind of waiting for it to get there, and it's immediately falling. Relative weakness. Thank you, Brendan, for that note from Morgan Stanley. Now, if they could just go ahead and do something about their own stock, that'd be just great.
Just watch AMC here, guys. Remember, it's their shareholder meeting today. Just seeing a comment that they plan to set aside $100 million to invest in other companies. I saw HYMC, Highcroft, remember? That popped up earlier on some comments as well. But AMC trying to go higher.
Before you finished saying that, I was typing HYMC in there. Yeah, of course it's at the high
Harmony.
of the day. Of course it's at the high of the day. Like, where else would it possibly be? But it's weird because anytime there's speculation that, oh, yeah, we're going to invest in more other opportunities from Adam Aaron, it's just everyone goes to the stock that they already invested in as if somehow it's automatic that they'd put more money into them. Look, I have no idea. I know that if I'm going to, AMC's in New York. If I would just go right to the well, AMC making, I would say, an outsized move relative to the market bounce, or maybe just with the market, I should say. It felt like that was a little bit bigger than maybe it was. Either way, it's like a 30-cent bounce. I'd put it in the category of stronger names off these bottoms, because if I look back and check my notes from this morning, I was like, yeah, I think I wrote down 1150 on AMC, not seriously thinking that we're ever going to get there. And then when the morning hashed itself out, I was kind of like, yeah, whatever, I'm done with this. And it was by the end of the show, it actually touched off those levels. Now you're back above. I think it's reclaimed its previous low. That 1150 can come into play. HYMC, I guess sometimes it's good for a little bit of a squeeze. So if you're into that sort of thing, it's got a double top. That might work out for you if it takes it out. But I think AMC probably is going to have a little bit more juice to it than HYMC. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, AMC interesting. I mean, it is cool that it is their investor day and a special little meeting there. So that's kind of cool. Let us know if any of you guys are at that meeting. I don't know, maybe people are or have been. There it is. So we fired off that cannon. So we'll go, that was not a bad idea to take a little bit of Meta long at that 161. So there's 50 cents right there on the long side of Meta. So we took out that profit. And then we did have a nice little move upside there for AMD. We got some like high 70s there. We are now in 40%. So we're out of 60% of this AMD trade as the market right now is just hovering. Where's the market? Right here. It's not making... So I'm a little bit nervous now about it. I might just empty out of everything. It didn't take out these highs. So that little spike high right there, it didn't take it out. So a little nervous about that. Trying to now go a little bit upside, which is nice to see. Back into the money, 30 cents on Meta, and back into the money, that dime in AMD, Brendan.
This Rhythm Pharmaceuticals popped up earlier this morning, way back when we mentioned on a halt, in fact. Just doing the same thing once again, guys. So they came out with a date or a goal date for one of their trials and then approval of the drug they're working on. So another move here for RYTM.
Yes, we are a part of a Rhythm Nation. Great ticker. First of all, like they deserve to be up because it's a great ticker. And we always talk about this all the time. It's just like if you have the opportunity as a company going public to knock it out of the park with your ticker and you don't take it, as far as I'm concerned, that is questionable. Highly, highly questionable. So that's a good one for them. But on the higher look, I don't have to say 420 because the high of the day is 428. But I'm sure we'll talk about it anyways. But that's actually just below this 434. And when you have consolidations like this, a lot of times like you'll hear me say like, yeah, you should be shorting off levels like this. But when you have a really tight consolidation off the bottom, and then you sort of make that low and then immediately run away from the low back toward that high, like slow grind up to the high, nice little back, you bounce off previous support, and then you're immediately retesting the top. That's actually pretty bullish. So maybe it doesn't happen today, but certainly this is a stock that could break out technically, right now, guys. So I'd be watching this one for the other direction if it takes out the high.
All right, let's go. Yee-hoo right now. We are starting to blow up right here. Thank you so much, Flame Boy. What's up, man? Right there. He took the Meta trade with me. Now he can buy some Fire Jordans. Great job there for you. I'll be wearing some hopefully very, very soon as well back here on the show. Nice little 34-cent move upside. We just took another piece out. Look at this. Bang, bang, bang. There's AMD for you. If you took AMD with me as well, Flame Boy, you could buy 2 pairs of Air Jordans right now. Meta's only 50 cents in the money. We actually had many more shares here here of AMD than we did of Meta. So we're much more excited about this trade here as we continue to go to the upside. And then new position alert. This one, I don't know. Apple is in the building right now. So I've been sort of weary to get into this name. We're long here at 25 on Apple. I don't know. The market's trying to go back up to the upside here. We've been trying to hold on to some of these longs. Okay, Apple, if you want to do it, you want to dance, let's dance a little bit here for Apple. See if we can get this like back up to 130.50, something like that on AAPL into this. That's 130.70 VWAP. The market's trying to go here, so hopefully Apple can as well. Why aren't you going through 30 right now, Apple? See if we can get that a little bit higher side right now. There is Facebook back. So right now we're in 3 positions, all 3 big, pretty decent winners right now, besides Apple, actually. Apple's the only one that's flat. 40 cents, 50 cents in the money now on AMD, 50 cents in the money on Meta, and flat right now for Apple. So Apple might be the one that's a little bit weaker. Let's take a piece out here at 21. We'll literally take out 20%. Darn it, missed it. I was going to say, let's take out 20% at 21 cents there, just in case this does fall back. My plan of action, honestly, I don't want to hold this one very far. If we take out 130 back on the outside, I'm going to get out of this one. This is a very, very small, try to scalp trade this one. Apple 130, we're going to get out. I'm going to cancel my 21s. Here it comes, coming right back in. So Apple definitely not working out for us. The other ones, though, nicely done. Apple, a little overcooked on this. Like, you know, again, with the market, right? I think the ones that really started to blow up there were the ones that were a little more than the market just because they had some giddy up to do. So Apple right here continues to get hit. Darn it, that's going to be the mistake there.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Roblox. Someone is buying these 50s. Like every single time it's about to break in the next leg down. We'll see if it happens here again. Like you see some stacked bids in the high 40s, and then the offer doesn't really travel down. Oh, of course, I was about to show you guys how there was buyers at that 50 level, and it wasn't going to break down. They just kept stepping up, and then of course in one shot they filled them all. Picked me up, so I'm now out of Roblox. I just wanted to short something that was already weak. You're not much weaker than down 15%, so into that pop, it came back into that 25. The longs that I liked, I mean, Boeing got away from me there, unfortunately, so it's all the way up at that 135. I covered 134 when the market looked like it was dumping. I just come back to VWAP. If I get a chance to see 33s again, the market comes to the low. This has been a strong stock. We're buying the dips. Has been much better than trying to buy. The one time I tried to buy this as it was breaking out, that was the losing trade. Everything else has been getting it off of these lows and then off those bottom consolidations. That's what I want to stick to. Oracle I put into that category, even though I haven't traded it. ORCL, Neil. Sometimes I like to talk to myself and remind myself how these symbols are spelled when I make a keystroke. I tried to get into this off of that 68.5 on that dip. You've seen it kind of run away and put in a double top. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that. It's not doing enough volume that I just want to sit on the bid. I think you'd rather, if it comes back down, I'd rather see it try to bounce, stair step, and then get in, maybe remove off the offer to just get into position. I wouldn't want to be standing in front of it and have it flush. Worth noting here, I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll pull this way up. So when it started failing off that high, there was a huge volume spike. I felt like it was mostly dark pool, but I wasn't watching the stock when it happened. If you're going to put in a huge volume spike as you fail the top, I definitely don't want to be chasing the move in that particular situation. So I'm backing off Oracle, no bids. If it does pull back, I'd rather see it level off before I get in. 20 minutes till we get the imbalances. Don't forget, tomorrow's quad witching. Obviously, that's a big event. Today, every now and then, I'm not saying there'll be larger imbalances than normal, but every now and then in front of quad witching, you do see outsized imbalances the day before.
Yeah, I could believe that, and well, we've seen it. We don't need to believe it. But okay, just so you guys know, Apple came back. We got out of that 25%. Looks like it's going to break. We got out of that 25% for flat there. So this will be a 25-cent hit. Here it comes right back in. A couple pennies lower. There it is. We'll get out. There it is. Darn it. Slap ourselves around on that Apple trade there. So loser on that one, but so far so good on the others. We just took another piece out. So right now I have about 20% left, maybe a little bit less than that, of this AMD trade as we got going real good there, man. Like, look at all these outs. Boom, boom, boom. Just took one out again at 91. Look at it falling back in. So right now you are trying to breach that 50 period again there, right? So glad we got out of that Apple. Glad we took a little bit of profit there on Meta. I was just going to cancel that because I did have another order down here on Meta. Let's just make sure that we have our stop order the right way here at 50. So now we have a better position for Meta in case it does go back up to the upside. But yeah, 160.50 still our closing trade here for Meta. So nice little average in. We're now long at 78. Here it goes back up to the upside. It just seems like, honestly, man, scalping is like what I do best, obviously, and what I'm going to continue to do. And that's what has just been working like fire right now on some of these names. Apple just didn't go. Apple gave us like 3 pennies at most. That's not enough to scalp out of Apple, right? So, but, you know, is 20 cents enough to scalp out of Meta? Well, there it is. We just got out at the 50 period again off that 75 reload, out 90s there. But here it comes back in. So that was only a 15-cent take on Meta, but hopefully we can get back up to the upside as this one seems to want to bleed through here. I don't know. Did we get an update on that number? Let me see if Brendan
I've seen
795 million to sell. Okay, so 800 million to sell. Not great to be long into sell imbalances. So we'll let this one only drop down to 160.50. Now that we know that that's the number,
I'm looking at Amazon short rate.
Yeah, exactly. Look for some shorts. Like Amazon's been a great short for us. Roblox continues to be a short, down 16% right now. We don't need to be in longs. It'd be nice if that number was a bid for once, but it seems like that's always downside sell risk. And then you have that quad witching risk as well tomorrow. So yeah, there could be some big imbalances coming through today.
Yeah, 2 things. One, I should have held on to Roblox, but you know what? At 3:30, we usually get an early look from, I think it's Financial Juice publishes like the early look for the imbalances. When you're in the money on something, at that, it's like a couple of minutes away. It's not the worst idea in the world to hang on just to see if the imbalances are going to go in your direction, or at least the early look is. And if it is, maybe just hang out for a little bit lower, because now you add the low of the day on Roblox. Now, I was just trying to get like 103 and change. I'll go to 103, maybe 102, like 90s or something like that on Amazon, which is starting to roll over here. So we got through VWAP. We're now failing VWAP. We're right in the middle of our consolidation, 102.65 into about 103.30. So somewhere in the middle. Where am I sitting here? Diddling at 98s. I'll pick up the short there on Amazon. And again, just show me something which is in a downward trend, which just spiked, rejected VWAP break. And if we're going to head toward the low, it's been under pressure. So a decent bounce that it's made, but I was looking for things that made sense to get into. And yes, I get it. Someone put in the chat, Boeing was a great short off 135. And you know what? No, as I cancel my bid. Normally, I'd look at these wick tops and be saying exactly the same thing. Today, I've just been bullish on Boeing. It's been relatively strong, and I said to myself, I'd look for something else to short, stick to something weak. From a setup standpoint, that's as good as it gets. Gets right to the top, double top, and rejects it. You short the 78 to the 85 area, and then bobs your uncle down into VWAP. Instead, I'm, in Amazon, probably like 50 pennies after it's flushed down. Sometimes you pay to get into the weaker name a little bit and not have a fantastic price. That's the thing about shorting a strong stock. You're going to get a great price shorting a strong stock. So the risk reward is going to be fantastic. Believe me, I know. I'm kind of wishing I had done it, but stuck to the rules here. Brendo?
There were some earnings move projections, volatility projections just popping up on Adobe, guys. Pricing in a $27 move in the options market for earnings. Remember, aftermarket tonight for Adobe just coming off here on some volume.
Adobe, okay, yeah, big earnings play there. I was actually, Sharif over here was telling me about some earnings aftermarket plays, so be interested to see how that can come through. We just wound up missing, though, guys, some of these little plays right here, man. 81.40, we actually saw that wick and tried to buy it through this 50 period, but we missed that 50 punch, and there it goes right back up to the upside. AMD now in the money, a dime for us, but obviously Meta, still at that 160.50. We wound up losing on the last half of that trade. But here we go, man. AMD tried to make that bottom. I think that's relatively strong. So AMD is a name that you could look at if you wanted some strength just off that 50 period. Because, look, the NASDAQ is still there, but we're well below now. So I feel like you know what? Let's just, damn it, that went 10 cents in the money. Let's put another offer somewhere near there just in case we need to get that. So that's a name that we're going to be looking at here, AMD on the downside right now. But if we can get that 10-cent profit, we'll do that again here for AMD, guys.
Yeah, just coming back to Boeing isn't at VWAP, but at least Oracle, which is the other name that obviously was relatively strong, that did make that spike down. So I didn't want to stand in front of it. I'd be long right now if I just sort of left the bid in there. I wanted to see how we reacted to that price. We'd have the same bottom at 68.40, pretty much exactly, and now you're getting a little bit of consolidation. So I'm going to get a bid. I'm going to get a bid in those 40s and see if I can't pick. That was real fast. Oh, give me a break. You get the order entry, and it's like the second I put the bid out there, it was like, boom, and you're filled. Sometimes when you get the fill really easily,
yeah,
it's not that good.
No.
But we'll see. Obviously, it can hold VWAP. It can hold 68.30, and I'd be with the trend, and I'm risking 20 cents plus slippage. On Oracle, I wouldn't expect too much of any. And then we have room to get back to the top. And you will probably say as well, Oracle was a good short up at 69. Double top, triple top if you look at the open. Market has been weak and in a downward trend, and you'd be right about that. It just would be in a relatively strong stock. That's why I went to Roblox and was shorting it not that far away from its low of the day because that was a stock that was relatively weak. So if I pick longs, this is what I'm going to have to do with them. My stop will be just a couple of pennies below 68.30. Slippage, I don't expect to be more than a couple of cents there. But if I get something to bounce, it's likely to be this or Boeing. As I say that, Boeing didn't even get close to VWAP, and it's already starting to bounce. So that's an even better one, holding higher lows pretty much since lunchtime on Boeing. Strong stock.
Yeah, strong stock. And here we go. Oh, we just missed it on. Why am I at 76 here? Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, come on, 76. Let's go. Maybe we could get a 76 here would be nice on AMD. Come on. Like, why am I fighting this for one stupid penny on this name? So let's just put an offer at 74. Maybe we can get that and get out of here for 10 cents on. There it is. So nice little take there on AMD as we're just scalping out a dime now. So, not a big, huge trade here, but we're going to try one more time to make a little bit of money here on AMD on the long. Again, like just playing off that wick bottom there. So let's check out Alibaba quickly. That's another name that I like, that 105 short this morning. That obviously hit real early and then didn't come back in. But look at the bounce off 100 flat. So, something there for sure for all of you guys that are looking at Alibaba. I think there's some nice pressure there on the downside to 100. So maybe $100.50 is that bottom. So there could be something to look at right there. I do want to get more. I want to get longer into AMD if we get a chance. And I see you getting ready to hit the button.
I got to hit something
what do you
here.
got
It ain't for me, man. This one, TradeX Freedom. Congratulations to you, but
what's
they're proud you listening to this. He just said holding Roku short 80.50, booked 70%, thanks to Prad. Look at Roku, man. The number one holding or number two holding for the ARK flagship index.
Sir.
Lows of the day, relative weakness abound, right? So this is what you got to be able to find. Look at the price rejection on all these pops. Look at the lower consolidation and then falling apart here and barely even bouncing. So you want to see that relative weakness. I wish I had noticed this a couple of minutes ago because maybe I would have had this instead of, in addition to Roblox and maybe instead of Amazon there. So obviously Oracle going up means that's going to start working for me. But I'll show you the one that's not, and that's Amazon now clawing back through VWAP. There's a pretty big sell candle there. If it holds this high, I thought we'd be retracing back to the lows, but the market might want to go the other way, in which case I'll get stopped out of this and then be holding on to the Oracle long going into these imbalances, which are still indicated to be a sell, oddly enough. But Dominic said in the chat, he saw Apple as being 9 million. Dominic,
I meant to ask him that.
Where are you getting? I don't know. I don't know where you'd see that. But if Apple's a 9 million buy balance, I'm very curious as to where you'd be seeing that. Like I know sometimes
you might be talking about the witching. I'm wondering.
No, but sometimes you might be. If that's for tomorrow, it's an upweight of 9 million. That
Not
makes sense.
Not going to cover Apple, Neil Roberts. The one time I mentioned your regular stock, you had nothing. I don't know what that means, Dominic. So, 9 million, who knows? But, okay, AMD right now, a nice little upside move here on AMD, up to 82 and change. Again, I had two offers there. I didn't realize it. So we are now out of AMD, but it looks like a good out. I'm a little bit upset that I didn't get the long off that bottom wick, but that's okay. You can get everything if you try, but we missed that one for sure. I did anyways on that bottom. Should have been a little bit more aggressive on that. So we'll see where that goes from here. Microsoft, yeah, there's a few aggressive names that are trying to pop through here. Actually, the one that isn't is Meta. We went long that, and every single time the long was great there, it was fine, and then we lost it. But this one may be testing the bottoms as well. 159.60 there on Meta could come into play. So that's another name to watch out for here, as it's been pretty weak. Your Amazon, well, not your Amazon, but I really like Amazon to the short side as well. See if we can find a way to get into that name here. I mean, there was just a way right there. I mean, breaking up through 103.50 there, that was the top on these spikes. So 103.70.
I was gonna say, like, you don't have this crazy redonkulous wick. I'm glad I didn't have one of our script orders out, because it had.
I have one early here at 8:09.
Look at this, like, nonsense.
No, I don't have that one.
And if you have certain script orders out there, sometimes they'll trigger on that block print that just went off at 104.50. But for the most part, we are hanging right around 103. Like, it'll go in the money a little bit, then it'll come out of the money 20 or 30 cents. Oracle, at least, is showing me that it is still relatively strong. Like, it's popped halfway back toward the high of the day. With the futures sort of fading in here, my gut tells me early look on the imbalance being to the sell side, muted bounce, market pulling back. I should definitely be taking some of this out here, guys. So, I'm seeing Mike saying 9 million paired, 8 buy side on Webull. You guys are seeing it at Webull there. You guys sent me a screenshot.
Wait a minute,
guys, I am notoriously bad at being able to do this. Sean's great at it, being able to do this, talk, trade, and then also get to DMs while we're on the show. I find it actually impossible to do, so I apologize in advance. I do my best when I'm on the train or in the mornings. When I get home, I'm just dad, so I get it to as many as possible. If I know I'm looking for it and you guys send me something, I'll look. But if you send it in the middle of the show, it's like, I'm probably not going to see it. But thank you guys. If we do expect Apple to possibly be a big imbalance, that big, then this small sell might not have as much juice to it. Either way, I'm probably covering the rest of this Oracle, just feeling like the market wants to roll over here. So I'm not looking to gift horse in the mouth. I'd rather just take the small win there. Wish that I'd gotten into Boeing at a better price or one more time. But I'm going to be done with the longs. I'll hold on to Amazon at least for now. 5 minutes to go to these imbalances come through. But I do want to see Apple. Like, you guys have piqued my interest, right? Like, if it's a buy imbalance and it's doing this, heading back into the lows with the rest of the market, just understand, like, if there is going to be some kind of a shock and it does come out of buy imbalance, there's going to be a risk to reward opportunity there if you can catch it off the lows with a stop at the low of the day. That's a hard trade to make, because the second it hits, if it does come a large buy, the algos are going to be beating you to any trade. So people try to do that with bracket orders or sit in the trade. You could sit in it and have a stop through the low. That's a reasonable way to maybe approach it. But once it hits, essentially API, algos have, API access. They're going to be reading that print digitally, and they'll be in the position before you could blink an eye. So actually capturing it after 350, if it happens, darn near impossible.
Yeah, agreed. And good call there. Dominic, I see your message there, obviously on Webull. So I just want to use this as like an experiment today, man. Like, why not? Let's just see what it does come out at here, Apple and Amazon and whatnot. Let me know if there's anything on Amazon as well. I mean, the more information we can get into all of this stuff, guys, is it's gold. If we can get some imbalance information and find out like that Webull's going to sort of show it a little bit early for the NASDAQ, that's great, because right now we don't have any updates here whatsoever. So Apple, if it does have 9 million to buy, I almost feel like that might be tomorrow, because, and I know you sent it to me, Dominic, and I did see it. I'm not going to share it because it's
out of Amazon.
It's literally your account. But yeah, I don't know. So there it is right there. We're going to wait to see what does happen. Remember, the reason why I thought that it could be tomorrow is just because of what is tomorrow, right? Tomorrow we do have that witching, and I just feel like there's something there. As a lot of you guys know, that's sort of what we look at for the imbalances. And then you have quad witching, single stock futures, stock index futures, and options coming due tomorrow. So that's the quad witch right there. Right now, nothing here until 350. Brendan just gave us 953 to sell.
And I covered my Amazon.
So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. It doesn't seem like it's an obvious buy for Apple, but let's just wait to see where that comes out.
It got me to get out of the short.
I do want to say thank you to Dominic, though, because the more information that we share here as a team, the better it is.
Well, that's the thing. I'd rather, if you're getting that kind of a surprise when it's indicating to the sell side, that means there's more risk. You're going to get more slippage on a short position than you would a long if that were to happen to you. So that's enough for me. I'm really curious, because I would expect there is going to be a large imbalance on Apple tomorrow. Certainly, it broke that 200. And the way you think about witching, I mean index rebalancing is, look at how volatile it's been from this quarter to the previous quarter, right? And then understand if it's a big index name like Apple, which finally broke the shelf. Like this just broke the shelf in this quarter. And it had the big move to the downside, like significant move to the downside. Like that means it is going to be major reweighting going on for a name like this, more than normal when it was a little bit more stable. So I would anticipate something big tomorrow, and sometimes we see it a day early. That's why it does pique my interest. That's why I covered Amazon, and I'll be looking at Apple specifically in 2 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to have it up here. We're going to watch it. We only have 2 minutes to go. Let's just check out. I want to check out XLE again because oil is still starting to fall down. And this was a real big surprise to me here, XLE today, when Daniel brought it up to my attention. I didn't even realize this. And it's funny, like basically when she came on was over here, 245. So it's kind of like at that bottom. But look at XLE today. Opened up at 80 and then went all the way to 77. And it's not even like it's far away from that right now. So watch out here for anybody that's owning XLE. You are at like a tipping point. We've already cracked through the 50 period, and oil's still relatively strong. So that's a big dump down here for that. I don't really understand why. Nat gas, I mean, I know it's an energy ETF, so you got to watch out for that. XLE, find the constituents and so on and so forth. But I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far, man. Hit the like, hit the subscribe for us. We had a monster. We had over 116,000 views yesterday. So let's see if we can double that today. No, we won't be able to double it. Let's see if we can get to that number today, and let's see if we can do. I don't even know how many likes we have. I'm just doing this here. 843. So we need to get above 1,000 here today for sure. Yesterday at the close, I think we had almost 3,000 likes. So let's do that right now. With only 50 seconds left to go, man. Let's wait to see where these imbalances come through. Right now, downside. We definitely want to take a look at Apple in case that does come
very
to the
quickly.
long. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Almost nowhere are you going to see this. I'm looking up the spreadsheet for index action tomorrow. Apple is net shares to trade on the S&P rebalance, 10 million to sell. So oddly enough, it's expected to be the other way tomorrow. So that's just what we have in our data. I can't tell you where I got it from, but I can definitely share it with you anyways, and who cares? So it is expected to be a sell tomorrow, Apple, but we are looking to see what comes out. And I appreciate everybody letting us know on Webull it shows a buy. I have my level 2 on Apple because if there is a chance, it's a shock buy side. If there's a chance to even get in early, I'll try it. Usually you can't catch it, but here we go in 2 seconds.
Yeah, here we go. 3, 2, and 1. And here it is right here. There's nothing even close to 9 million shares. MRO, Disney with a sell. That's probably going to start to head to the sell side right now as well. It looks like the market not doing much on that. So I don't know what the net number was there. But yeah, not much on here as we go. Is on there. Visa. DNA, maybe a buyout there. Isn't DNA a little penny stock? Yeah, $2 stock.
Oh, it's a penny. Okay.
Yeah, so
never mind.
DNA's on there as well. Let's just go back over to the imbalances one more time. Elan, Zila. A lot of people like to look at Zila. That's 14 cents now. Oh my God.
Disney's a mill.
Yeah, we looked at Disney, and that started to go down a little bit there, but not that much, So yeah, relatively muted. I think everyone's waiting for tomorrow.
Just quickly, I want to. Just give me a second here because I want to look up anything that's a significant imbalance. I'm just going to check it up to see what it's supposed to be tomorrow. So oddly enough, like Disney's supposed to be an upweight tomorrow. Very, very small. But either way, like it does have that sell. Nothing really happened there. Nothing really happened on Apple as well. And again, I don't mind that. Look, I love the fact that we got the heads up. I kind of feel like if we had, you could have had a big spike to the upside if there'd been anything. Checking back in on what would have happened if I had actually held on to Amazon. Not a heck of a lot. I'd still be in it at the same price and probably covering it because the market did not flush on those imbalances. But man, I'll tell you, I heard Pratt and Roku.
Yeah, he's
Roku
loving
back
Roku.
to the low of the day, man.
He's loving Roku. Nah,
he had the tongue out.
He ain't got shit.
Pratt had the tongue out. He's excited. I'm like, yo, this kid's still in Roku short.
You know why? He's excited for the people, right? He's a man of the people.
You know what? It is. So anyways, one of the best feeling I've ever had as a trader, I was actually telling this story, I think it was possibly to Sharif, wasn't one of my wins. It was when one of the traders that's been around for a while, you know who I'm talking about here before I say it, Sean, got himself into a gigantic hole, and it was an awkward situation. Like he had an algo making a trade. There was a fat finger that triggered him in. It was one of those losses that wasn't about the trade. It was just essentially a bit of a mistake with his program. And the day that he battled out of that hole, the entire floor was like erupted. Nobody forgets it. His kid was born the same day, and he came from the hospital and got green on his account that day and never looked back. That is the single greatest moment in my trading history, was getting to witness that, and it wasn't about me winning. It was about a guy we all loved, and kudos to him. But it's just, we love to see other people succeed. Like, it's a cool thing, more so sometimes than ourselves. But we always got to go to Brendan when he's got something.
A late runner here, EBIX. We talked about, if you joined us this morning, there was a short report on this. I forget which one it was, but the short report. So they just came out with a statement saying it's all garbage, fake news, the typical. So big volume spike, big rip here for EBIX.
Oh, yeah, EBIX. By the way, Bob, sorry, I said this would happen. Boeing falling like an absolute rock. So back to red on Boeing as the market does head a little bit southbound there. It's going to happen. Nothing could even hold today. It's just one of those where we're giving it up. I'll probably look at Oracle and feel like I got out good. At least I hope I do, because one of those situations where even like a strong stock, we got out good on Oracle as well. It's still holding up pretty nicely, but pretty much nothing is looking super, super strong going into this close. We're not screaming through the bottom, which is, I guess, a good sign going into tomorrow. But, we're not exactly finding major bids there. Roblox, which we were trading. Whoa, what? That was a big bounce on Roblox. That's kind of crazy. I should check that for the imbalance. Like, Roblox bounced almost like 70 pennies off a wick bottom, down 15%. Kind of crazy. So somebody likes to buy Roblox going into the close. Didn't see that coming.
Man, yeah, I mean, sometimes there are things that are down a little bit too much, and then people have the idea that tomorrow might be a little bit of a battle back day. Tomorrow's Friday, of course, and then it's going to be a pretty good day for volume-wise, but it will die down a little bit in the afternoon, waiting for that quad witching. But yeah, thank you again today. Hit the like button, man. People are getting, we got to get more likes on this stream here. Thank you to Prad for doing a great midday show as per usual.
Prad's going to do, so by the way, I don't know what condition we have to make it. Sorry to put you under the bus, but you did say you're practicing, Prad. So Prad said he wanted to try Look At Me Now. No, but he's practicing it. I don't know when it's going to happen, so we'll have to. I'm just saying, that is one of the hardest. I wouldn't even try to attempt that. That is one of the hardest. I'm talking Busta Rhymes verse. Like, when you talk about dropping bars, that is near impossible. It would probably take months and months of practice to do it. Yet, after he heard last week and the fact that you guys got us to record likes, or to, I think it was 3K likes that day, or whatever it was, 3K likes the other day, he's practicing. Immediately he said, I want to do it as well. So kudos to him, man. And he also gave a viewer like a $2.50 winning trade, which is pretty amazing as well. If he does it, I already said, if he does that, I'm taking a lap around the block. If he pulls that verse off, because as far as I'm concerned, you can drop the mic and then retire on something like that. Even thinking about it is having my head spin. And if you haven't heard that track, after we're done, you should listen to it. Like, that ain't easy, man. Busta Rhymes is a legend, and he's going a little fast. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Pratt ain't doing that. Okay, but all right. No, I hope he does, man. I want to hear this guy spit some bars as well. Okay, just quickly here. Apple down today's low as well, down there. So nice little move there for Apple as it's trying to retrace back in. AMD battling. We're still good on AMD, man. That was a good little trade for us. Lots of wins there on it. It's just one trade, but good outs for us. I really feel like we traded that quite well there. That of course is AMD right now. But other than that, man, 82.11, 82.1 there for AMD. Amazon keeps going to the downside there, so that's going to be a good one. Meta right now 160, bouncing off 159. I think you can swing some of these here. We have a lot of resistance levels down there. Meta might be one of my number one choices there. Let's check out Tesla. Is that still sub 10 right now? So Tesla battled back 2% almost, right? Like, that's a good move for Tesla. Up 2% off those bottoms, 625, held that again. This could be a swing candidate. Just because the market's getting absolutely clocked here doesn't mean we can't make some money just in one quick move tomorrow morning. So a little bit of a bounce back day, or a little bit of a bounce back afternoon here for the market. So still down 4%.
I heard some people in the chat are like, what's going on in the back? Like, some of the market itself isn't having a huge bounce, but there are individual names. Like I pointed out, Roblox, that made wipeout bottom. Come to my chart quickly here. I'm not like, there's a few names out there that are absolutely just bouncing and getting some bids. And I know there's a few out there, but the market itself is not doing much. But I'm telling you, there's a few pockets in here which are going absolutely nuts to the upside. And you got to pick your poison. Like, it's not everything. You mentioned Tesla there, but there's a lot that's catching bids. Like, Tesla's up at 640 almost. So like, if you shorted into this when it was a sell imbalance, like, there are some actual moves happening. They're not gigantic, but they're in some of the weaker names from earlier today, which certainly is a little bit of a shock. It didn't feel like we were going to get that going into the close. I'm not saying the market itself is having a monster move here when I pop over, but we did reclaim 11,000 on the NASDAQ, so it was a little something. And a couple of these names are blowing to the upside huge. Thank God we got out of Amazon. Yeah, that would have stopped me out like for a 70-cent hit right quick.
Yeah. I mean, some of these names, are aggressively moving. Not Sidhu, though. Sidhu into the close here, still at that 750 area. Just want to check back to see if we did have a late move on SIDU. Brendan was talking a little bit this afternoon about AMC. We didn't really cover it. Again, not too much of a movement there. 1140 bottom, though, on AMC. Not a horrible spot there if you're interested in that. We could check out GME quickly for you. You know, we like to look at these when there's really some news and something moving. Today, AMC does have that meeting that they're doing. So talking about putting some cash aside, obviously, for some more spending there. So throwing some of that popcorn money around. Let's see if AMC can get going. But there's GameStop down up to 125 right now. So a nice little move there for GameStop today. Only down 2.7. So a little stronger than the market there. If I had half my life savings into a swing overnight, good one, Mike. But no, I would, you know what, overnight.
Every time AMD comes
it's just like a tricky name. But I honestly think AMD, I know Neil might have just said that, but off of that 80 level, we bounced off of it. $2 worth of risk right now. Again, the only reason, I mean, not the only reason, there's a few reasons why I don't do anything like that. A, we can't swing anything here, or so we'd recommend some of it. But the other thing is that you could gap down, and then the next thing you know, you wake up tomorrow and you can't get out at 80, you're getting out at like 78 or something like that. But I like AMD. If we have a rebound day, I could see AMD tomorrow $87, $88. So I think that that's a reasonable call, and that is what that is. So thanks, Mike, for that one, for the super chat and for everything as well, guys. So thank you for supporting the show once again.
Less than 30 seconds. Bick, thank you for the super chat. Quad witching. I would not be making bets going into quad witching.
No.
The open is entirely unpredictable. Like, certainly, look, I cannot condone it. I just can't say. In the years I've been trading, it's usually not worth it trying to make that kind of a gamble. You react on quad witching. You don't make guesses going into it. Tony the Tiger is on the bell in 4, 3, 2, and...
All right, and that closes out the day. Thank you, Tony. It's always great to see Tony one more time as the market is now closed. The traders are either licking their wounds or something behind us right now. Let's go over to Brendan and figure out how did we end up today.
If it loads.
It was not good. Walmart and Roku debuting first of its kind partnership, apparently, guys. So that just out on Roku. You might have just heard a couple of people saying that in the background. Here we go. Ugly numbers right across the entire board. 4.1% for the NASDAQ, 3.19 for the S&P, 2.75 for the Dow. Top to bottom, pretty rough day, 1.5%. Back to the upside for crude oil here. It was up as much as 2% at one point after being negative in the pre-market. I'm going to look into that a little further, though. But if you missed that again, apparently Walmart and Roku debuting the first of its kind partnership to bring commerce to TV ads. So if you see something, I guess, you like on an ad, you can buy it right on the spot.
That was Roku news?
That was Roku.
That's huge. I love that. That's awesome,
good.
honestly.
Well, so just one more thing. I know before we wrap things up, it is worth noting on volume, Apple closed well off that bid. So it rallied at the end. Even though it had that sell and bounce, it did rally at the end.
The market was huge at the end.
I mean, the market did come to the upside. So, the sells did pair off, and we did get that bit of a bounce. So maybe there was a little something to that order, maybe getting put in a little bit late to the imbalances. Who knows? But it was a huge volume spike right past that 9 million mark, and it is green. So whatever that's worth, maybe not a bad indicator there.
No, not bad at all. Guys, thank you so much for watching us one more time here again today. Thank you, obviously. We've been talking back and forth with Prad during this show, so that's been really fun. So, hey, what's up to Prad? Thank you for the midday show. Luca and Ian on the midday show as well, every day for you. That's been really a lot of fun. Thank you to Brendan for the good work today, obviously, and to Lucas and to Fahad over there, and to Tony ringing the bell. Thank you to the other B, Brandon, for doing the sticky note, or not the sticky note, that's me. The watch list there as well. I just saw Katrine running around. I want to say thanks to her as well. Thanks to Maggie. Thanks to Liz. It's been a good day so far. Did you have anything to say there, Neil? I didn't know if you...
No, I was going to say, usually Maggie comes out and like makes an appearance in the shot.
Well, she comes and monitors Brendan when he does that market recap. So, but I think we're getting rid of that. Anyways, someone just said something about the bull. Yeah, we didn't turn it around today. I think that was bad luck. I feel like every day we got to turn it to whatever the market is.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Yeah, because it's definitely having some sort of karma there.
Remind us next time.
Yeah, we'll remind us. Thanks, guys. Make sure you hit the like on your way out. Get ready for the trade of the day, which was Apple. You can see a little bit about that. We know that flushed a little bit, then went back through 130. So join us tomorrow for what's going to be quad witching. Always interesting in the morning. There's a lot of volume that goes through on the opening cross as well. So join us tomorrow at 8:30. We'll talk about some of those imbalances. Thank you to everybody today. Thank you for all the super chats. And a shout out to Bear vs. Bulls. We don't do that enough also when we do that little rundown there. So everyone have a great evening. I'm going to go spend some of this money on some new Nikes. So I'm going to be looking at that Nike stock as well. So everybody have a fantastic one, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Ciao.